Today we'll be doing the Northern Realms tier list for the November 2025. As we've said, there's been a lot of changes, and we're just going to go through and rate all the cards as soon as we make a quick adjustment to a minor mistake we just caught. There we go. As far as the tiers, we've got the excellent cards, which are the best cards here. They're either incredible across the faction or incredibly good for specific decks that like to make the decks work. We have, okay, this tier's supposed to be up here. We have the good tier, which are just very good cards that you see, that like to see play. They're good. You use them in your decks, and they're strong. You have okay cards, which are slightly underrate or not quite as good. They're like options. Sometimes they might be better than other ones, but usually can go with the things above them. Niche cards are ones that are really hard to rate. They have a specific spot in the game, but that spot's either like very conditional, it doesn't always work out, that type of thing. But they do have a place. It's just not the best usually. We have weak cards. These ones you probably don't want to be playing. They likely need like a buff, and they're generally not as good. Bad cards are really bad. You don't want to use those. Weak cards like might have some type of upside. Just usually the upside's not quite good enough, or like the condition's a little too hard. But bad cards are just really bad. You don't want to use them. And meme cards are pretty much only played for fun. There's not really any other reason you'd use them. They're just not good, and they don't really have a way to be buffed for the most part. So that is the tier list. Let's get in here and start off with Northern Realms. We're going to be going this in alphabetical order, starting with the golds. And let's just begin with Amphibious Assault, straight up into the excellent tier. All these cards should be updated. I keep track of all of the cards when I make the monthly tier list, and then put them all into this file, so they should all be up to date. If not, it won't really change my rating if I have like one provision wrong or something on something. The cards should still be rated correctly. As far as Amphibious Assault, though, in the beginning, we have it tutors with Echo, which is very good. It boosts when you're playing something with 9 or less than 9 provisions. And that's just really good because Northern Realms wants to protect its engine, so it lets you develop your engine in one turn while boosting it. So say you play Kedwani Revenant from your deck, it gets boosted by 4. And that's really good. The fact that it boosts when you're playing things under the provision limit makes it really good for playing engines. You can make combos with it with stuff like Cohen, and it's just incredibly good. It has great in-faction synergies for being a warfare. Super strong card for Northern Realms. We have Anna. Anna's just a good solid engine. She pretty much only sees play in Shield Wall engines, but the deck is good and she works pretty well in it, so we'll give her a spot in the good tier. Nothing too crazy there. Archgriffin's our first meme. Archgriffin's playstyle just does not function with the current meta of how the game works. So with Archgriffin, you want to boost it incredibly high, and then it goes back in your deck and you play it again, or take the boost off with Erland. If you boost one card incredibly high, it's getting removed. Like, that's the current state. It's kind of how the game always been, to be honest. And if it gets incredibly high and it gets removed, you've lost your entire game plan, not just your tall card in one of the rounds. So it's just not good, but it can be fun to play with Archgriffin, that's for sure. Next up, we have Bernard. Bernard, he has duel a random enemy. And the thing is, you kind of need to zeal him. There's much better things to leader-inspired zeal. So Bernard really needs, you want to use like a Vess on him or a siege support or something. I'm going to put him in a week. I have used Bernard. There are similar cards to Bernard where they are guaranteed removal if the opponent has one unit. Think of things like Imperial Manticore, things like Predatory Dive. There are cards that do punish, and some of them are good. For example, Predatory Dive is pretty good if they only have one unit. Shoop, if the opponent goes first, you can do the Seize if they only have one unit. There are ways to punish that, and Bernard kind of fits in that bill, where if they open with something you want to remove, you can play Bernard and Zeal him. It's just a bit costly, because to do that, you have to use an Inspired Zeal leader charge, which is his best case requires him being leadered. Which I think Bernard has some potential if he has like a small buff, but as it is, probably don't want to be playing, and there's better things to leader charge. Can be fun though. Black Rayla is just a solid, good engine card. Again, mostly played in Shield Wall engines, but that's good, like we said here. And she just works really well with Shield Wall in particular, because Inspired, she gets the Inspired immediately when you boost her. And with Shield Wall, they have to hit her twice. Like, they can't just put like Alzur's Thunder into her, make her go down so she doesn't have the 2 damage anymore. They have to remove the shield first, then do that. But she works really well with Shield Wall, good Inspired engine in decks that want to play that, and works out pretty well. Bloody Baron. Alright, here's a debate for us. Do we put Baron in good? I think Baron's good. Baron's really flexible, though. Like, a lot of decks want to play Baron. Golden Necker decks play him as a tall punish. The Shieldable Engine decks and Devotion decks play him as a tall punish as well. So they have on Sace plus Barons, pretty common. And he's just pretty darn good. The question is, do I think he's good enough to go up here? I don't quite think so. We'll just leave him in good, but he is a very strong card, and definitely an option if you're playing a Devotion deck to consider him for a tall punish. Bloody Flail is another meme card. Bloody Flail's 8 bleeding, and it changes 1 bleeding to 1 damage per soldier you control. The issue with Bloody Flail, there's 2 issues. 1, it's too expensive. 2, here's the bigger problem to me, is often you want to play removal cards to, well, not often, you want to play removal cards to remove the opponent's engines, and they're dangerous cards. Engines tend to be played early in a round. Early in a round, you don't have 8 soldiers out, so this card's really bad. That's the biggest problem to me, is you need the soldiers out, and that takes time. So it's just not going to remove engines at the time you often want to remove engines. If it was cheaper, maybe you'd consider it, but it would still have the same problem, which is just you want to use it early in a round most of the time, and you can't. So it would have to be either buffed a significant amount so that you could just use it later in the round. I still don't think people would do it, because you'd rather just have like a Boiling Oil that guarantees like remove something. But maybe if you have a bunch of engines and use it mid-round to remove something, if you're playing a engine-heavy deck, it would kind of have to be it would have to be buffed so you can potentially get that damage out of it. There's no bleeding synergies in Northern Realms, so yeah, it's just, this is a meme card. Bullholt, I'm going to be a bit generous here. I really like Bullholt. Bullholt is very good. The problem with Bullholt is he costs too much. Bullholt's a really strong card. He's really great off of Temple. He's really great whenever you get him. The problem is you don't want to pay 12 to put him in your deck. I will be nice to Bullholt here, and I will say I want to be nice to him. I'm putting him in weak. I think Bullholt is actually a good card if he's cheaper. Like, I think there's potential here for Bullholt to be used. He has very good synergies with stuff like Kidwinning Revenant. He has very good synergies with stuff like Frigate. And he can tempo when you play him for a decent amount of points if you duplicate something, and if you're duplicating an engine. So he has some potential. I just think he's a little too expensive. And I think if he's cheaper, he'd actually be a good card. The prime target for a buff, in my opinion. Next up, we have the Botchling. How do we consider this? Botchling goes with Ada, because Ada, every time Ada sees a curse card enter, well, the first time she sees a curse card enter the battlefield each turn, she gets a boost by it. This happens to be cursed on both forms, so you just flip it between forms. Each time you give your Ada 5 points. I'm going to put it in okay. I don't think Cursed Ada is necessarily the best Northern Realms deck, and I think Botchling is like one of the weakest parts of it. You only play it to threaten the Ada. And there's enough other cursed stuff. You don't need the Botchling all the time. Like, you've Cursed Knights, you have Kidwinning Revenant, you have Drog, you Forbidden Magics. Like, there's a lot of ways to spawn cursed guys. You do always play this, I think, because you want the threat of it. The opponent has to remove it. But it's only an okay card, even in that deck, I think. So I'm going to put an okay. Next up, we have... this card, though, Chapter of Wizards, is a very strong one. It goes in 2 decks in particular, Alumni Mages and Cintron Spellweaver Spam Mages, where it is extremely good in both. I'm going to put this up here. Chapter is incredibly impactful because it plays the Rune Word, which can trigger your Cintron Spellweavers twice, and then it lets you double play engines, which is extremely good with resilience. Well, either double play engines or double play finishers like Alumni's. I think Chapter is I think Chapter is pretty much what keeps the mage decks having their big runs. Like, imagine if you don't have Chapter Wizards carrying over into round 3 with Alumni, you feel really bad if you don't have this round 3. But it's a very good card, I think. Not that those decks are the best, but this card in particular kind of just like makes them. I'm going to put it up here. Cohen is okay. Like, here's the thing. Cohen got nerfed. And the nerf really hurt Cohen because he got a provision nerf. And the big thing with the provision nerf means it's different points when you when you do the Amphibious Assault. Because what you normally do is Amphibious Assault Cohen, it boosts the Cohen, and then you can just click his order. And at 7, Amphibious Assault boosts him by 2. And that's not good enough. You have to use something else to boost him then. You need to have like a leader, use some orders on board to boost him, and that just makes it really rough to use Cohen. Previously, when he was at 6, he'd come out at 5, and there's a lot of things you could have at 5 power, like Adepts and stuff like that. It's just not... It's just, there's way better, there's just better things to do, but you can play Cohen if you want to. Like, you can play an Uprising deck with Cohen, Renfree Uprising, regular Uprising. You can play him with, like, Witchers and a Golden Necker Shield Wall type of thing. It's just usually everything else is better, but he can work, he can be big, but I'm leaving him okay for now. Cuckoo deck. I'm going to say Cuckoo deck is okay. Is that too generous, a Cuckoo deck? Yeah, it is. He's going in weak. Yeah, he's close. He's close. Cuckoo deck is... He has 2 problems. The first problem is Radiant Secret Service is infinitely better. The second problem is that he just doesn't have a good alternative. There are a good number of 6 provision Purify cards, and some of them see play, like the Immortal's Cupbearer, Queen of the Night, Kurt. Like, they all have a second effect that is useful. Grimace has replayability, but Cuckoo deck doesn't have any of those alternate effects. He's only there to purify, and he only purifies adjacent units, so you can't purify enemy units, which makes him really subpar for this role. So that's the problem with him. If you're going to play Devotion, here's the other thing. Sometimes you need to purify in Devotion. Some decks need this, right? You can't play Peller, but you have Secret Service, whereas in other factions you don't have Secret Service, so sometimes you see people play like... what's the Purify one for monsters with dominance? The Taskmaster. Like, sometimes you see people play those. But you don't do that here because you have Radiant Secret Service, so he's just really weak. Next up, we have Damsel in Distress. Now, Knights may not be the best Northern Realms deck, but Knights exist because of Damsel in Distress. Damsel in Distress is incredibly powerful. We're going to put it up here. Damsel... We should just leave them alphabetically. Oh, I'm moving them around. We're not rating them within the tiers. Damsel in Distress is worth so many points that it's kind of insane. Whenever you play against Knights, how the game goes usually depends on if they can play Damsel when they want to or not. Right? If they play Damsel, and then they play like 2 Grace cards with like Maiden Shield, all of a sudden they're like 50 points. So Damsel is incredibly strong. Very good synergies. And it has one of the better passive effects on the snare, the Chapter 1 effects. It's just incredibly good. Like, super strong, carries Knights. Knights, like I said, aren't the best Northern Realms deck, but they're certainly playable. So I think this goes up here. Along with Dandelion. Dandelion is one of the best opening cards in the entire faction. It probably is the best opening card. No, Temple's probably better. But you get the idea. Dandelion has very strong carryover. Yes, he often needs to be played with Shield Wall. But if you put Crystal Skull on him in other decks, it's just as good. Like, if you just have a way to give Dandelion the Inspired safely, I think Shield Wall makes the most sense here. But whenever they Shield Wall Dandelion, what are you going to do? Because, like, they'll pull out Radiant Secret Service, so you can't lock it. Which says a lot about Secret Service. We'll get to that card when we get to the bronzes. But you can't lock it because it won't do anything. And it's getting them 2 points a turn, or 2 points every other turn from the order, then 1 point a turn on top of their deck. All that's carryover value, and it's really hard to remove because it's got Shield and it's Inspired. Very, very hard card to deal with. You often just have to Heatwave it. And that feels really bad, Heatwaving an opener card like this when you really have big engines later. So it can be very difficult to deal with. And the fact that it gives so much carryover, it lets you do stuff with carryover-based decks and get all of your other inspired cards in your deck boosted up so you don't have to inspire them later. They'll have the boost on them. Incredibly powerful. And then we'll just throw up here another great card. Demavend up here too. Demavend's insane. Yeah, Demavend's just insane. You banish 3 cards from your deck, you thin your deck 3 cards, and then you Inspire Zeal him, so you play one of the cards right away. So he tutors a card out of your deck while thinning 2 more out of your deck, and then if he lives, you can play those random bronzes you banished as well. If you end up not drawing him early and get like a round 3, you can play him in round 3, and it's just worth so much that the opponent can't answer him. The opponent basically has to answer him because you'll put Winch on him, and then you can just use his ability again, which is incredibly good. So I think Demavend's super strong. Tutors, thins, plays for good tempo, plays for potential engine for the other orders of his ability. He's incredibly dangerous. You got to deal with him. Deathmold's just bad, unfortunately. He's got two problems. One is he's just not good enough. He boosts all of your other mages by 1, which on paper kind of sounds okay. The problem is mages are not really a swarm deck. They don't like swarming the board with mages. Yeah, you play a bunch of mages, but that's more so to hope the opponent doesn't kill all of your engines, rather than to get a wide board to boost with Deathmold. So he doesn't work well with their strategy. And the other problem with Deathmold is he's just not good. Like, he's 8 provisions. You would much rather be playing things to protect your engines or additional engines. Like, even like a Necromancy is better because you can copy your engines. Obviously, a Tissia is better because it enables your engines. You'd rather use the provisions to put Defender in your deck or another Secret Service to protect your engines being locked. He just doesn't work well with the Mage deck is his biggest problem. He needs to either just be a decent enough tempo play with the mages that they want to play him, or people just have to invent new mage cards that don't exist. So, yeah, I don't think he works great. The only time he does work well is when you're playing in a Darin deck and you're getting a whole bunch of copies of things like Meditating Mage. But at that point, you're already winning, so it's a one more card too, which is the other issue. So, yeah, Deathmold's just bad. Donamir is good. Ranking defenders is rather difficult for the most part, but I think Donamir goes in good. Sometimes you want to protect stuff with Donamir. The most common deck that uses this is Voltus. You protect your Voltus in commando decks. Very useful for him. Sometimes you play him in Knights to protect your scenario because Damsel's so powerful. He's just fantastic whenever you get him off of Temple because you can protect stuff pretty easily there. He was not the most common card, but he's very good when you use him. Some decks do just want him, and he's good in those. Drakenborg, it's going down here. Drakenborg used to be the best card in the game. Then it got reworked because it was obnoxious and not fun and too good. And now it's just a meme card. Except for one case, which we'll get to when I'm done talking about it. That's not going to take it out of meme. So Drakenborg, you like summon a unit out of your deck and lock it. It takes the boost. Then the order moves its boosts into Vitality on a different unit. Okay, so it tutors a locked card. There's 2 cases you'd want to do this. One is if the effect is negative, and 2, if the locking the card does something, which in this case it pulls Secret Service out of your deck. Those are 2 cases for Drakenborg. Obviously, having a giant boost on the unit it pulls out doesn't help because if you Vitality 100, no one cares because you're not activating 100 Vitality ticks. You're probably getting like 4. So that just doesn't matter if it has a big boost on it. Instead, what you really want to do is use this for tutoring. Now, here's the thing. If we tutor out a unit with a negative effect, the only one you really want to do is Berengar, because Berengar has a destroy himself effect if he's not locked, and you're not playing Witchers. You just play Witchers, or your opponent's going to Purify and it dies. Now, that's an issue, so that's not the best case for it. It's not great. The one that's slightly better, I was trying to say how much better it was. Think about how much better it was. The slightly better one is you do it on like Snowdrop. You tutor your Snowdrop out, Purify it when Secret Service comes out. Then you have a Snowdrop order you can use. There's just better things to do. Like, in all cases, there's something better to do. I cannot for the life of me find a spot for Drakenborg, and I've been trying to make a Drakenborg deck forever. So, if anyone knows a good use for Drakenborg that's actually good and not just a really bad version of something else, let me know. But it's going to fall in the meme tier. Kind of where it should be probably at this point. Drog is good. Curse decks with Ada are a thing. Drog is a 7-point curse card, so that's nice. Transforming a bunch of soldier tokens into revenants is good, because it means the opponent cannot answer all of the soldiers. Well, not necessarily just tokens, a bunch of soldiers. They can't remove all of them at once. The thing with Kadweni Revenant is it's incredibly strong if it lives, because like 5 points a turn if it's cycling its ability on stuff, on the opponent's stuff. But the often opponent just prioritizes killing it. If you make several in one turn with Drog, it's a bit difficult for the opponent to answer. The little downside here is you have to have those soldiers out. Sometimes the opponent will remove them. Sometimes you don't have that many soldier tokens or soldiers on the board. Sometimes you're like me and put Ada in the row you want to transform and you don't want to transform her because she loses her immunity. Sometimes stuff like that happens, which can be a bit of an issue for him. But overall, he's still pretty good. I think just making the Revenants is nice. You do need a couple of the Revenants to get their abilities off for him to be worth it, but making them is a big threat. And again, sometimes he's not great in a shorter round, but that's true of a lot of cards, and at least he plays for 7, and you'll probably get at least one Revenant to go off, so it's not that bad. So yeah, I think he's pretty good. Erland, all right, Erland I'm not too sure about, to be honest. Like, he recently got buffed, and I haven't seen much Erland. I'm going to say Erland's okay, though. Um, hmm. No, he goes up in good, I think. I think he deserves to be up here. He's not in this level. Yeah, we'll put Erland in good. I'm a little torn on him because for a while Erland Shoop was like the best Northern Realms deck. That was a long time ago at this point. The deck boost doesn't help too much unless you're using his ability. If you're using his ability, you want to have a lot of things in your deck to boost. Like you can do stuff with Pavetta and Revenants or Pavetta and Commandos with him. That's pretty nice. But it's a little bit awkward to use. And obviously Temple puts more units in your deck. There's ways to do it. I do think I'm going to put him in here. I don't see Erland like ever unless to get him off the Temple. So I think Erland's okay. Like it's fine to boost everything in your deck. The problem with that is Mutagenerator is just way better at it. And the other problem with it is if you do it early in a round, he won't have his immunity, which is annoying. But the other thing is if you play later round, he has his immunity, you remove your deck boost carryover to give him the points, which can be very big. Like you can get really big Erlands. Just I think usually you're better off doing something else in Northern Realms than doing an Erland-based deck. But this is one I could be completely wrong on. You guys let me know. Next up we have Eggmund. Okay, Eggmund's weird. Eggmund's weird. Let's put him in okay. Yeah, Eggman's weird. So let's talk about this. Eggman gives the unit to the right 1 point per turn, kind of like a drummer, and then he has the order to do 3 damage. This is incredibly similar to a lot of these 7 provision engine cards with an upside. Specifically, Aperian Phantom is almost identical to this, except it boosts itself instead of the card to the right. And Eggman just, here's the thing. A lot of factions will play these cards with effects like this because they don't have another good engine in that spot and they want one. So think of like Firesworn. Sometimes they play Roderick because he gives them that 1 coin and can spawn a guy. Think about Monsters, the Aperian Phantom. Sometimes you play them because you want another engine card with the potential to use damage. We're ignoring the Aperian Phantom triggering Lara here, like talking about like in Frost or something. Or in like Keltalis decks, they play that too. Northern Realms has some of the best engines in 7 provisions in the game. You have stuff like Immortals, you have stuff like even Anna's better. You can do like one more and play like this. So Eggman just doesn't have a spot because you'd have other engines in a similar provision range that are just slightly better. Right? 1 point a turn's not much to talk about when you have 2 points a turn here. Same with Immortals. So Eggman just like on paper looks okay. The problem is just other things are better. So I think that is a firm argument to put him in here. Falibore is niche. Yeah, Falibore is niche. Falibore only gets used in knights with Ale the Ancestors. Now, I think knights without Ale the Ancestors is better. But Falibore can do a lot of work. It just depends on the situation. So, Falibore knights, it's a weird one. It's a weird one. I don't know how to rank it other than this. We'll just leave him in niche. Falibore can be very oppressive, right? If you can't remove the Falibore, they're just boosting it with Ale the Ancestors, with Ales, with not Golden Frost, with Ales, and like maybe off of the Knight Leader, maybe off of like what's the thing called? Carrick Marine. A lot of boost things. They're just blasting all your units. Can be very oppressive. It's also really tall and the focal point of a strategy, which is a prime target for removal. So Falibore is a bit niche. Yeah, I just like putting him here. He has a spot. He does have a spot, though. Like, that deck is a pretty fun deck. But I think Knights without him is better, but it's not by no means a terrible deck. You just have to, like, defend him. Next up, we have Flotsam, which is a good card. Creates a unit with an order. Often you can high roll on this. Like, you can high roll like a Reaver Scout and they don't kill it. You can high roll like a Ship Ballista, and the deck doesn't really use Ship Ballista, but has a lot of synergies with it. You can high roll Temerian Infantry, which is often the best case. And then you can reset an order, give it Zeal. That order can be very good. Like, imagine resetting Temerian Infantry is the main case for this. Reaver Scout is the other main case. Sometimes you do Kidwani Revenant. It's just a very good card. The fact that the order reset is on a resilience thing means if the opponent's blasting all your bronze engines to try and stop you from doing it, you can likely do it in the next round. So overall, pretty good card. Voltus Pride. Voltus Pride's also quite good. Yeah, I'm gonna put Voltus Pride in good. It's a strong siege machine. I saw siege machine, siege engine. right? Because it does 4 damage per shot. It does need crew, and that's 2. It's 2 cooldown. If you don't have crew, it's 4. So you really need the crew. I mean, this is why you play Henselt Stockpile. You pull this out of your deck with Henselt, and then you start cooling it down and firing a whole bunch of things in one turn. That's really good. It does a bunch of damage. It can be a bit hard to line up the 2, because that's 2, the 1 to each adjacent. Sometimes you're missing value there because you have to remove something. You're not getting adjacent targets. Sometimes they don't have that many units out, but you're still getting points on the Henselt. Right, so it usually works out pretty well. The problem with Voltus Pride is that you really want to be playing it with a Henselt. If you drop it outside of that, it will often die because it would be at 6 and the opponent would remove it. It's pretty dangerous. They'll often remove it for that reason too. And you want to combo the Stockpile leader charges. So you don't really play it in other siege decks. You really want to combo with Henselt and Stockpile. But that is like the big play of Stockpile Siege. So it works quite well for that. I'm not going to put it in excellent tier because I think Henselt will deserve the nod there over it, but it's very good. Gerhardt's just a solid card. Like, it's just a solid card. If you have 11 provisions and you want to play something that has good tempo, you just play Gerhardt. Yeah, like mages like to play him because he triggers mage stuff. He's pretty good. And then sometimes you just want a tempo card in your deck. That's not as common nowadays because the decks that would often play this would have like a tempo in it or something that's pretty high. But if you do need 11 provision tempo card, he is your guy. And he is so good in mages too. I'm going to leave him up here just because of that. But generally, like a good card. I can see if you don't consider mages, you just like put him down here because he's usually an option. But I think he works really well in mages, so I'll put him up in good. Hubert's also a good card. Thins himself out of your deck once you use the 10 orders. I believe it's 10. And then all of a sudden you get a 5-point tempo card. 5 points on a deck thin is pretty premium. It comes out to your ranged row as well, which is good and bad. Sometimes you have a roadblock in the ranged row, but that has a fun interaction. So it's like Sarah's Fearless, right? Sarah's Fearless, if your ranged row is blocked and then you meet the condition again, she'll come out, which is weird, but yeah, that's kind of how that works. Same deal with Hubert. But yeah, it's interesting. And you do know he's going range, so he's not going to like roadblock you if you're trying to set up a frigate melee or something. And you do know when he's coming out because of the 10th order. Sometimes you'd rather keep him in your deck, but that's something you can play around with your orders. It's generally really good to thin a 5 out of your deck, so we'll give him good. He's not as widely used as he would be in other factions as a self-thin because there are a lot of excellent thinning cards for Northern Realms, but he does have his spot in some decks. Ildiko's okay. The thing with Ildiko is, yeah, she has her ability gives everything Zeal. Giving everything Zeal is really good. The issue is you usually are building your deck in such a way that you can activate all of the important orders without having to rely on units sticking on the board. What do I mean by that? It means you're playing a Inspired Zeal deck. You will usually have exactly 3 targets you want to hit with Inspired Zeal. You might have 4 or 5 if you don't have them for Kedwenny Revenants and you're running them. For the most part, you have your Zeal charges. Like you're saying, I'm going to Zeal Demavend, I'm going to Zeal Rafard's Vengeance, and I'm going to Zeal one of my Kedwenny Revenants. Something like that. Or you're going to Zeal Dandelion and those 2. So usually you're building your deck to have a plan to Zeal all of your cards anyway. Ildiko is nice to Zeal them all, but usually you don't need her in those decks. So it can be a bit costly to put her in, and I think Vess is better, now that Vess is 7 for 7, and I just think that Ildiko's not quite good enough. Like, she has her order to boost too, which is nice, but I think she's just not quite as good as other stuff you could do. You could just play Inspired Zeal, or you could just play like Siege Support and Vess, like that usually cuts it. Immortals is a good card. Immortals, let's think. When I mentioned 7 provision engines before, this is the premium one. This and Cursed, or not Cursed, the Sorceress is 4 points per turn. It has shield, so they can't remove it with damage for the most part. It is row locked, but even if it's not row locked, it still gets the shield back, it doesn't get the 2 points. How do I feel about Immortals? I don't think it's quite in the excellent, but I think it's close. Yeah, this gets played in what? It gets played in Knights. Gets played in some Golden Neck or Shield Wall. Most Shield Wall likes it, though. I think that's pretty much it. You don't see it too much in the Shield Wall Engine decks. I think Anna's replaced it because you don't want to play the sorceresses in that deck. But I do think overall it's still a very good card. Istredd, it's kind of the same deal. Istredd's phenomenal in Melitele, but that's about it. That being said, in Melitele, if you just stick in Istredd, you can cycle your entire deck with it by basically your entire deck at the end of round 1 if they don't answer it. That being said, Istredd always eats removal, but it usually gets a decent amount of value. They don't typically want to hard remove the Istredd because they want to kill some other cards you're going to play, like frigates, and specifically if they want to like tall punish this because with like a heat wave because they want to hit Snowdrop or something. But speaking of Snowdrop, if you play Istredd with Snowdrop, you can just click this order and draw 5 cards, and your Snowdrop suddenly is at 16, which is pretty nutty. So yeah, I think overall Istredd's very good in the Melitele decks. John Natalis is going to Excellent tier. Now, tutoring is one of the best things you can do in Gwent, and John has 2 very impactful things that make him in the Excellent tier. One, the cards you can tutor are extremely good, in particular Amphibious Assault. You always want to be able to tutor that. Second thing is at 1 power, he's a very easy way to just play him and have a Kedwani Revenant kill him. And Kedwani Revenant is one of the strongest 5 provision engines you can be using. So being at 1 power actually is kind of nice because it gives you some setups. Those are the 2 main things with John. And they work really well together because if you tutor Amphibious Assault and play Kedwani Revenant, your Kedwani Revenant's probably going to live unless I Heatwave it or something, or lock it, and then you have a John you can kill with it. So that's really good. And just the fact you often want to be tutoring these Warfare cards to enable just cooldown reductions via the resupply or just finding your Amphibious Assault makes it really good. Next up, we have the Witcher location. This one, Kaer Saren, I want to say. Might be wrong in that. It's good. It has 2 main uses. One's in Witcher decks to get a 3rd copy of Adept if you want to keep transforming stuff and the opponent's locking them. And the other one is in Melitele decks to make an extra copy of Griffin Witcher Mentor. So those are both very good. And overall, I think it's going good. Also, the deck boost is nice because it enables inspired things. It has some uses. It's pretty good. Let's put it up in good. Keira is going to go in okay. Now, Keira is really fun. And being fun is awesome, but it doesn't put you high on the tier list. This is not a fun tier list. Otherwise, this would be very different. But as far as Keira, she's actually not that bad. The issue with Keira is you need to keep her alive to see a bunch of spells be played. And that's a bit rough. Because, yes, if you play a 6 power card, often the opponent will answer it. However, sometimes the opponent's deck's Devotion. They don't have a 6 damage card in it. Maybe they don't have a tall punish like a lock or something. Or a lock or something. Maybe they have another way of dealing with it. However, if you have to leave it out for like 4 turns, they probably will be able to ping it down with a couple of bronzes or hit it with like 2 removal cards or something like that. So then you're looking at some problems. It's a lot easier to remove a 6 power card over 4 turns than in 1 turn. And she needs to stick on board. So you really want to defend her. And that makes her a bit taxing provision-wise to run. But her payoff on her ability is genuinely quite good if you get it out. So I just think for Keira, she's not as good as other stuff you could do in her decks. She's very fun in those decks. But I think if you go with more of a standard mage approach or whatever you want to do, it's better. But she can work, and if you get value from her, it will be very good value most of the time. Keldar is very good. How do we feel about this? Golden Necker Shield Wall has kind of fallen off in favor of Shield Wall engines. So I think because of that, I don't want to quite put him in the excellent tier anymore. Because his decks aren't super strong, but let me think. Yeah, I think I like him in this tier. Keldar is very good, right? Because he gives you a 2-point per turn engine with a Witcher student, and then each time you play a special, he triggers again. You need Adrenaline for the non-specials triggering one, but it is a lot of students, and Witcher decks like having a lot of students, so it's really good synergies there. In particular with Golden Necker, because Golden Necker will play this. Well, you have this. You play Golden Necker, that's a special. Then it plays another special, and then you get the location, which gives you the Adept that can transform them into Adepts, and you're looking at a lot of points very quickly then. So he is very good for those decks. I just don't think those decks are quite at the top tier where they used to be. But I can see people arguing for excellent if they like this guy, those decks. Kennet and Gar. between okay and weak. I'm going to go with weak. Put them by Boholt because they're, the same picture. Gotta throw them in there. Yeah, so Kennet and Gar. This is the first time I've ever noticed that. Well, it's been like 5 years. It's the first time I've noticed these two go together. That should tell you how much I play this card. Kennet and Gar, yeah, it has Destroy at 2 power. Then each time you spawn a card, or spawn a soldier or whatever, you get another power you can reach. As Formation. It is genuinely okay. There's 2 problems. One is a recurring problem, where things at 3 or 4 power, which are the ones that he can easily remove, have generally been power buffed over time to make the engines better, and that makes them harder to remove things that you really want to be removing. That being said, at 7 provisions, if you can remove a 5 with no effect, you're pretty happy. That does mean you have to spawn 3 soldiers, and that can be a bit rough. I do think Kennet and Gar maybe have a spot, but that spot is just not... They're not quite good enough, because often you're not going to be removing engines, even though you want to be, and that takes time. It takes time to remove engines, right? You have to play this, then spawn a couple cards. Usually that means that there's an engine you want to remove. They've already used it a couple times or gotten a couple extra points, which makes it a little bit harder. If it's a self-boosting engine, it gets a little bit out of reach. So he can have trouble removing the things you want to remove. So you can often just end up using him for value, or in an engine spam deck. We have a bunch of engines, you can get one later in the round, but that's not as valuable as removing it quickly, which holds it back a little bit. So I do think Kennet and Gar's a bit weak. I think the best thing with Kennet and Gar, maybe just give a power so he's not as low of a floor and you drop him, then removing a 2-power token if you can't spawn stuff's not the worst thing. Kimbolt. Ooh, this is a controversial one. We're going to go between good and excellent here. I think I want to put him up here. Kimbolt's an incredible engine. As you play Kimbolt, click an order, and then you have another engine come out of your deck, and the opponent has 3 engines to deal with. Yeah, the problem is you need an order to go off first, but often you can play a non-dangerous order, something that the opponent can't really deal with. And he also does a little bit of deck boosting with the 3 deck boosts, which helps you manipulate the value of things for him to pull out of your deck. But yeah, often you can get an order out that's not super dangerous, the opponent won't answer. You drop Kimbolt, you pull something else out of your deck, and they kind of have to kill the Kimbolt, and then you develop 2 engines at once. If you don't kill Kimbolt, by the way, it's kind of insane, because you're just getting so much value so quickly off of him. He works best with Temple, because if you're pulling that many cards out of your deck, you might mill yourself, to be honest. So you gotta be careful about that. But I think Kimbolt's incredibly good. Yeah, he's super good. I think I'll put him up here. I know this one might be controversial, but you guys let me know. I just think Kimbolt's so strong. King Belahoon is a good card. It's not played that often, though. I think King Belahoon's good. This is my opinion, my tier list. Obviously, we can be wrong. You guys can disagree. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I think King Belahoon makes it into good. There are a lot of low power stuff you want to play. Devotion Northern Realms is one of the best Devotion factions, probably along with Syndicate. But Northern Realms has extremely good Devotion. And if you just have this guy out each time you're playing a card, it's usually getting 3 boost. And that's incredible. The opponent really needs to deal with this. And it just lets all of your engines that you play after him be protected. Yeah, the opponent really needs to deal with this. And if they don't, it's so much value. And the nice thing about this, it's not just raw value, it's protective value. Right? So if I just say at the end of your turn, just get 2 random points at the end score thing. It's a boost doesn't matter too much. But this guy protects your other engines that you're going to play, that gives them more points, and lets you get to Grace faster and Devotion Knights, lets you do a bunch of fun stuff, and it's just really good. Protecting things is really good, and he does that very well. Next up, we have King Foltest, who's going to go in the niche category. Foltest has exactly 2 uses. One use is you have him keep spawning Blue Stripes Commandos on the bottom of your deck. Sorry, he boosts the thing to the right by 1, and then if it's a first time a bronze is boosted, he doesn't have to boost the bronze. If you boost the bronze with something else before his end of turn effect, that's the bronze that'll go on the bottom. Then he spawns a copy of whatever got boosted at the bottom of your deck. So you put him next to your Blue Stripes Commando behind a defender, and then each turn you spawn that Blue Stripes Commando on the bottom of your deck. You keep clicking your Blue Stripes Commandos to pull them out of your deck, and you're building up your count for like Pavetta and your big plays later in the game. That is the main use. The other use is you use him on Dun Banner, and then you keep spawning a Dun Banner on the bottom of your deck, and then the Dun Banner got boosted, so it pulls the other one out, and you just keep cycling this and getting Dun Banners each turn. Those are the two main uses for King Voltus. And yeah, that's just, it's so specific. You have to be playing those, like the deck with him. And I think for that reason, he's like a good niche card. He's so good at what he does, but what he does is so specific. And those decks aren't very common. That I think I'm going to throw him here next to Falibore. They kind of do like a similar thing. Like make your deck around these guys, or at least with them in mind, and then you try and take advantage of them. And if they work, they're incredible. It kind of depends on what the meta is. A Purify plus hard removal is pretty common. You're going to have trouble sticking Defender plus Voltus. It also needs a lot of consistency cards to make that work. But in situations where like there's not much control, everyone's playing mid-range, like they can't really deal with this most of the time. So very specific. I think I like niche. Henselt I'll put up here. King Henselt is incredible. Like we already talked about it mostly when we talked about Voltus Pride, but you don't have to play with Voltus Pride. That's just like the ideal case. So Henselt plays a crew card from your deck, and then each time something cools down, he gets a point next to him. Cools down next to him, he gets a point. So obviously that works incredibly well with Stockpile Leader, because you can play, you have an engine out, you play Voltus, or Henselt, play Voltus Pride on the other side of him, and then you click your 5 leader charges. Henselt gets 10 points, plus all those cooldowns. You spawn the 10 guys. That's like the dream for Siege. Stockpile Siege at least. And Henselt just gets a lot of points. Often just playing the crew card is good enough. It's 2 engines at once because he gets his cooldown reduction engine value. If he sticks on the board, stuff like Winch does work on him. Oh, works on the things next to him. If you have engines out already, often the opponent's like, well, which one do I deal with? Henselt will get really tall. I want to tall punish him. So it can be really problematic for your opponent. It just really just a very strong card, especially because he comes with tempo on stuff like Voltus Pride. Great combo. Radovid's also going up here. There's just a lot of Northern Realms decks want extra leader charges. Some decks need extra leader charges, like Temple of Melody. Not Temple, Melody herself, not Temple. Although you often play her in Temple Melody as well. If you're playing like a Radovid with the Radovid and Judgment version, you can do that. But yeah, just you want those extra charges on the leader so badly in decks like Melody that this card becomes incredibly good. It's really good with Shield Wall because you often want those extra Shield Wall charges to protect stuff. The fact that you get Radovid Judgment as kind of like a package with him, because most of the time those guys are played together, that's really impactful. Stockpile decks really want this guy too because the extra leader charge means your Henselt combo with Voltus Pride is just that much better. So yeah, I think Radovid's just an excellent card. The 2 extra leader charges he can give you, yeah, the opponent will kill him a lot of time, you'll get 1. But the extra leader charges are just worth so much that I think he goes up here. And where is Judgment? Because they pretty much go together. Just grab him real quick here. Oh, alphabetical order is kind of hard. Where is our Radovid? Oh, there he is. He's on the edge of the row, so we didn't see him. But yeah, Judgment goes up here too, because these guys kind of go together. There we go, guys. Fixed it up there. We have the right version of Radovid. He's 4 power now. But yeah, the extra leader charges make his order better. When you use your last order from your leader charge, last charge from your leader charge, it comes out of your deck. And then he has an order to do 4 or 5 damage, depending on if Radovid got to use his second order or not. And then all of a sudden you're using a leader charge to do something while developing a damaged guy out of your deck that can work as a finisher play. You can boost this guy with Temple and pull him out as a finisher. You can do that. You can, more often, you'll boost him, we'll pull him out of your deck at the end of the second to last turn. Or if you want to develop an engine while having removal at the same time, you can do this early in round 3. This great, comes out with tempo, has damage, very good. And obviously these two work incredibly well together. Put them in the same deck and you can have some fun with that for sure. King Rognar. I'm going to put King Rognar in weak actually at the moment. Rognar's shield wall used to be a thing because you'd remove all the shields, and then he'd get really, really big, which is fun. Like, that's fun. It's a big, satisfying payoff card. It's actually one of the biggest payoff finishers you can do, because if you have a lot of shields out, so you have like 12 shields out, boom, King Rognar's gigantic. Like, he has some very big ceiling. The issue is shield wall decks have really, over time, leaned more into engines and protecting their engines with the shield wall, and spamming out a bunch of shields to take them off with King Rognar. So that's the main issue. Yeah, that's the main issue with King Rognar. And if you're not spamming out shields, he's not that good. And to spam out shields, you really want to be playing Griffin Witcher Adept, to be transforming a bunch of Witcher students, so you can remove their shields with him. If you're not doing that, it can actually be hard to get enough value off of him, right? Because if you're not doing that, the best thing you can do is be playing Immortals. Or Immortal Cavalry, I should say. The bronze. And then you have like 4 shields there, maybe like 2 leader charges. Yeah, that's okay, but I mean, it's a lot to commit for that because you're playing 8 for 5 bronzes, which isn't too bad. And then you're using leader charges. It can be rough to get enough shields for King Rognar. And he's not good in a short round, which a lot of finishers are good in short rounds, which is his issue. He's more of like a payoff card. Think of like Yennefer of Vengerberg that boosts everything by 2. He's more of a long round payoff card than a finisher. And that can be a bit difficult because in Shield Wall, your long rounds are already very good from engines. You just rather play more engines than doing this, and that makes him a bit weak, unfortunately. Knighthood. Ooh, I really like Knighthood. I think Knighthood is an underrated card. That being said, I am still going to put it in okay, I think. So Knighthood plays a knight from your deck and then boosts it by 1 for each knight you already have on the board. Now, tutor cards are extremely good. This is a tutor with a boost, like Amphibious Assault. However, its boost is very important to knights, and knights have this thing where they have to find Damsel in Distress, so they're always playing Oneiromancy and Amphibious Assault, and then they're often playing Lady of the Lake to find one of those 2 Echo cards, and then also the Erendite. So this is really much better in a Devotion Knight deck where you're not committing so many provisions to the other neutral tutors. And Devotion Knights is just not that great, to be honest. And outside of that, yes, you can tutor a knight with this. The problem is the only knight you run in most decks is Prince Anseis. And you're not tutoring Prince Anseis with this. You're tutoring Prince Anseis with Temple of Melitele and giving him a big boost. That being said, if there's a mid-range type knight deck, maybe you run like a couple of knights like Knight Errant and Shield Wall, is something I've been wondering about myself. Can you like a mid-range knight deck and Shield Wall? Then you maybe get some use out of this. But I think usually there's slightly better stuff you could be doing. But I'm going to say like this card's not that bad. It's just it doesn't really have a great spot. More so the deck for it doesn't exist than anything else. So we'll try and make that mid-range knight deck at some point. But I still think that this card's pretty good. It's just outshined because you already have Amphibious Assault in Devotion. This is only really for knights, and knights like playing non-devotion. So that's kind of an issue for it, but I think there's maybe some use for it in the future. Leticia, okay, how do we rate Leticia? So Leticia, I'm just going to put her here for a second. It's not where she's going to go. Leticia, you play her, and then if the opponent cannot answer her, and your students, your alumni just get out of control and you win the game. That's pretty much what it comes down to. How often does that happen? And does that matter? Because the opponent has to remove her. Does that make her a good card? I mean, Leticia into alumni is kind of what you want. Like, that's the whole goal, is to Leticia live and boost your students. And she really only needs to live for like a couple turns to get value. I'm going to say Leticia is good. I think I like the good tier for her. Do I like good? Because she pretty much never lives in the alumni decks. But is that reflection on how strong she is, or is it a reflection on that she's too weak? That's a tough question. You know what? This is what the niche tier is for tough stuff like this. I'm going to put her here. I think that makes sense. Leticia is really good in certain metas, right? In metas with heavy removal, Alumni as a deck is bad, but in particular, Leticia is really bad into heavy removal because she does nothing. She just dies. That being said, Leticia is incredible if she lives, and that depends a lot on what's common at the moment. This is true for a lot of decks. A lot of decks depend on what the meta is. Leticia in particular, like, there are movement cards people play in decks. There's like locks and stuff. It just depends. Like, she can be incredibly good. She can be weird, just do nothing. She is a really big goal of Alumni's, but I think she's more niche. Like, this is good, and this is good in several different decks, and it's good even no matter really what you're doing in the mage decks. So I think Leticia fits here. I'm hesitant to call her a good card because of stuff. I think I'm just going to leave her here. Maybe being inconsistent with her, but let me know. Mad Kian. Cayenne. It's a meme card. So here's the thing. Mad Cayenne, we'll go with Cayenne, he damages the enemy by the amount he's boosted, right? Then Death Blow, he resets himself. Now, I've said this a few times. It's kind of a philosophy of mine for Gwent, and that is removal is good in two cases. Removal is good when it kills something you want to kill, or it's good when it does enough damage that its value is on par with what you want from a value card. Mad Cayenne has to be boosted. The fact that he resets his boost means that he cannot kill stuff or you waste all the boost on him. That means he's not good as a removal damage card because you really don't want to be doing that. Sure, you think to yourself, well, Cyclops does that, right? Like, Cyclops removes an equal amount of power from my board and the opponent's board. Except Cyclops is a 5 for vision bronze, and this is a 6 for 8 gold that you have to play in formation. It has to be previously boosted and can't trigger death wishes. So there's a lot of a difference there. And that difference alone, just this Cyclops comparison, shows why it can't be a removal card. Like, at least a reasonable one. The other case is where it does enough damage that the value is just good. In order for this to do enough damage for it to be good, you'd probably want it to play for like 12 or 13. Probably like 12. We'll be generous, say 12 on 8. Right? That means it has to do at least 6 damage. If you boosted a whole bunch, get a bunch of value, it can't avoid death blowing stuff, and it resets itself. So, yeah, this card's just really bad. I don't see any hope for this. Margarita, though, is excellent. Now, you might ask, why is a 6 for 6 lock excellent when Gregory exists? Well, Gregory is probably going to be an excellent card as well, but she has the benefit of being in the Northern Realms faction, which means you can play her with Amphibious Assault, which means she comes down as 9 with lock. That's really good tempo. She's very consistent to find. The lock is in order, so you can play her and then wait till the opponent plays the engine. Usually you don't want to do that, but it often ends up happening. Well, at least sometimes ends up happening. It's not too bad then. And she's just really good to have a control card like this in your faction. Melody's going straight up here. Yeah, Melody decks are really obnoxious to play against. That's just my opinion. That's not a fact. I don't like playing against them. But the reason they work is because of her. Yeah, Traveling Priestess. Yeah, Vernon Roche. Yeah, that's the big finisher. But Melody decks with, like, Germaine, like, you keep cycling Melody, and each time you cycle her effect gets better. As soon as Melody does +2 boost to everything on the board, she's incredible, right? That turns the big swing turn. Often they try and win round 1 with that turn, like win it on even. They cycle us back in the deck, boost everything out in round 1. They win, and then all of a sudden you're stuck playing against their short round Vernon Roche combo with the Traveling Priestess, or you're stuck playing against the round 3 where Germaine comes out and they put this back in, boost them all the tokens by 3. So Melody is just incredibly powerful as a card. Yeah, I'm putting her in excellent. All right, I know there's some people who love to complain about Northern Realms constantly getting nerfed, and they love to say like Mood Generator in particular is over nerfed, like not good. Northern Realms is the worst faction. I got a lot of people commenting this stuff, which I don't understand. Northern Realms has like been a top faction for like 5 months, but I'm just gonna put Mood Generator right in excellent here too. Yes, it's 11 provisions now. Yeah, so what, it came out at 6. Is it still really good? Yeah, it's still really good. So what does Mood Generator do that's so strong is you play it If the opponent does not kill it, obviously that requires a heat wave or purification. Each time you play a card, it boosts everything in your deck by this. 5 of the cards in your deck with the same provision count by 1. Now you're going to play a deck that has pretty much like 1 provision cost you want to be boosting. Often that's 5. So you play this, say the opponent passes on 7 cards. So you go first and play this, the opponent passes on 7. You've played 5 provision cards, getting 15 deck boosts, which goes into protecting further engines. That's really good. If the opponent plays down to like 4 cards because they're in a long round and they're trying to get round control to make up for this carryover, you've probably boosted. We'll say you didn't play a 5 provision card each turn, but you've probably boosted another. That's 30 deck boost. That's 30 points of carryover. That's more than King Trum. That's pretty insane. So yeah, your generator is really strong. It also, like, if you're losing, you can just play stuff melee and get 5 points of boost on your different units each time you do that. It does boost stuff, like your deck will play other things. Like say you're playing a bunch of 5s, you also have like some 7s, or like you're tutoring with John or something. You can just play the melee to get an extra point or 2. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's just probably the best carryover card in the game. And it can also just give you tempo points when you're playing stuff. I still think this card's incredibly strong. People play stuff less when they're nerfed, even if it's still good. It's one thing I want to mention here, right? So like, I still think this is really good. How's this, Nathaniel? I want to say. This is the Syndicate crossover card. Okay, let's talk here. Each time you boost him, he puts 2 bleeding on an enemy unit. Now we're just right off the bat, we're going to ignore the fact that he always puts bleeding on the same unit over and over, which it just seems like happens way more than it should be if it's truly random. Like, I have a feeling this card's not programmed to be random somehow, as I have used this card more than I think most people to try and make some content decks, and he just always shoves like 8 bleeding on 1 card and hits nothing else. It's really weird. So I don't know what's up with that. Let me know if you guys have the same experience with him, but he like always puts the bleeding on the same thing over and over, which, yeah, you expect it to happen, but I've taken enough statistics classes to know it shouldn't happen this much. It's really weird. We could just be unlucky, but yeah, that's weird. After it came out that Renfree's not truly random, I'm a little more skeptical and kind of believe that I might be right about this more than before, right? Yeah, like for those who don't know, there's some issues with the randomness when picking from pools of stuff that was figured out a couple months ago. Like Renfree often is much more likely to give you like a destroyed leader than something else, which is how it feels in game. It was found out with Shady Vendor that sometimes Shady Vendor in certain pools will always seize 3 specific cards and not the 4th one or something. But anyway, he just doesn't feel random. And second of all, that's irrelevant to the point that he's terrible because, yes, in theory, you get a 2-for-1 return on boosting him. Each time you boost him, you put 2 bleeding out. That sounds like it could be good. It's not good, because you have no synergy with bleeding in this faction, and each time you boost it, you're not boosting something else. So often you want to use your boost to protect engines that are on board. Often you have like big boosts, like you don't have... what John Natalis really wants is like a card like the guys with like order boost by 1 4 times. Like you just click the boost on it 4 times and he shoots out 8 bleeding. The thing is, those cards aren't good either, so he has nothing good to synergize with. And it just does not... Yeah. It just doesn't work. The synergy's not there. The value is technically there, but often you're going to have to boost him with big boosts. Like, he's a worse Falibore. Just play Falibore. But yeah, the thing is, if you keep boosting him with like your 2 and 3 and 4 point boosts, he gets really tall, then he gets removed. And you waste all those boosts because you spread him out. And the bleeding's not that good. Yeah, he's meme. Yeah, he is meme. Neneka is next, which is what we're thinking about with her. Neneka is bad. Neneka is a 5-for-9 that has 4 1-point boost charges. That's 9 for 9. That's not good because it doesn't have upside. The upside you boost things. Well, you would also boost by 4 total is Carrick Marine. So this is not it. She's way too expensive for what she does. Odrin is okay. If you're playing an engine-based deck with siege engines, Odrin does give you that one-man crew, which I personally find is really fun. Like, I like the idea of Odrin one-manning the crew. I think it's nice he goes down there and your engines start getting their extra points. Just usually the one-man crew isn't that impactful, unfortunately for him. Because it's not that hard to have crew on your important engines, and then, you know, it's not that big a deal if your Hero Ballista has crew for the most part. It'll protect it every now and then, but it's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal if your early round Siege Tower has crew, unless you're playing Stockpile, where you can really cool it down and get the boost out of it instead of Vitality. It's not that great that it's worth playing him. Often you'd rather play something like Boiling Oil to cool down those siege engines more instead. But he's not that bad. Like, you can run him. It's nice that he's a one-man crew. Sometimes it does come up, and it can be useful for sure. But like as an opener, you can play him, and then like your Hero Ballista gets armor. There's plays like that. It has some uses. I just think Odrin's not the best thing. All right, now Philippa's 9 provisions now. I think that makes her a good card finally. I might be biased here. It's just true of every card we ever rated, but I think Philippa's actually pretty solid. She does 10 points worth of removal. So if the opponent plays one big card, you can kill it. If they have several units out, you can use the 4 damage on her to often kill an engine that you want to kill, and then the other zaps will do something else. She's 1 power. You can combo with Kedwenny Revenant. You can zap things down. Not necessarily for Kedwenny Revenant, but like for your other engines to finish off, like a Ballista could finish something off. She hit down to 1. Yeah, just pretty good value now on her removal. Like, the removal will, like, having 10 worth of removal, sure, it's 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. That often just kills what you want it to kill. And that's what you want from removal cards. And she can often kill 2 engines. Like, if the opponent just goes 2 small engines right away, she can kill those, which is very good. Prince Anseis going straight up to the top tier here. Prince Anseis is easier removal for other realms. Like, you put Shield Wall on him, he does 12 damage on his duel before he gets hit back. The fact that he's formation, you pretty much always play him melee for the Zeal, so you can use his ability right away. But you can play him ranged in an Inspired Zeal deck and then give him a leader charge and has that 7-power duel. You can play him ranged if you're in a really bad spot, and sometimes the opponent can't kill him. But yeah, mainly what you want to do with him is play him in Shield Wall, where you play him melee, give him a shield, and then he does 6. The opponent hits back with a clash, the shield absorbs it, he hits 6, does 12 damage removal. That's pretty good. That kills most things you want to kill, as also while acting as a decent to punish. Depends how big the opponent's unit is. But really, he shines with Temple of Melitele. You knew we were going to get there. You play him, or you draw him off the Temple of Melitele, give him that 10-point boost or whatever, and then he duels for 14 and is a 14, and then he's a tall finisher while being a removal in the same card, which means the value, say he's worth like 28. Sure, you don't often duel a 14, but like say you duel like a 7, like a Queen Beeve or something. That's really impactful while him being big is there's a reason you always kind of have to bleed this out of their hand when they're playing Temple, because as a finisher, it's one of the best, and he is definitely quite good. Prince Stennis, though, is a terrible card. Yeah, the value's just not there. It's like Nenica. He's old, doesn't have the value, just needs to be buffed. Next up, we have Princess Ada. Let's see. Ada's your devotion payoff. I think Ada put by Drog, because they're like the same deck. Ada's good. I don't think I would put her in excellent, despite her being like the focus of her deck. Would I? I don't think so. I don't think she's quite that good. But she is strong. Like, you play Ada, she gets immunity if you're in devotion. Well, immune cards are really hard to kill, so that's really nice. And then each time you play a curse card, well, the first time a curse card enters the battlefield each turn, so it triggers off of spawning, not just playing, she gets a boost equal to its power, so you can do stuff with that. The old fun strategy you don't do anymore because it's kind of a meme strategy. Is you transform Regis Bloodlust with Curse Knight. She wouldn't have Devotion because it's not a Devotion deck, and you just play that back, and she has like plus 17. That's fun. But for the most part, you just play her. You like play your Kedwenny Revenant. She has 4 points. You try and get your Botchling flipping. That's like 5 points per turn. You play your Drog. She gets 7. She gets very big very quickly, like surprisingly quickly, and ends up being a really strong card for that deck. I'm debating still between the top tier. I don't think she's as good as the other ones up here, though. I'm going to leave her here. She's a very good card, though. Pavetta, where's Voltus? Like, same deal. Same deal. Her value is completely tied to commandos. Commandos are pretty meta dependent, as well as being like Voltus dependent. So I think I'm just gonna put her in niche. She shuffles all your stuff back in. She can be used outside of commandos. If you just want to shuffle a bunch of Don Banner back in, but usually it's just commandos. You can shuffle stuff back into boost with Erland, but I think that makes Erland the better card. So she's just really niche. She's very specific use, but she does do that use well. It's just that deck is a bit unpopular. What's this, Priscilla? Priscilla heals a unit and reduces its cooldown. And if she's inspired, she what is it? What is her inspired? It boosts instead, right? Yeah, I think that's what it is. Either way, she's not very good. The problem with Priscilla is I don't want to be using my 8 provision card to reduce my cooldown because her best use is on War Elephant because she's a pretty big cooldown reduction. I would just rather have another card. Yeah, I don't think Priscilla's it. Yeah, we'll pull it up. We'll pull it up. We gotta check. If you ever want to know, you can go to the library here on playgwent.com and take a look at the cards. Take a look. Heal by 4, yeah, it changes the heal to boost, and it resets. Yeah, so heal goes to 4. So right there. The heal goes to boost. Okay, I don't want to be inspiring Priscilla. The heal, like, here's the thing. Healing is just bad. Like, healing is just not a very good thing to rely on because boost is better, right? Boost is just better. Sure, I can use her to boost my card that's in danger range, or I can use Carrick Marine or Winch. Winch resets the cooldown and boosts it. Like, those are better options than this. The only time Priscilla's better is where the cooldown being reset matters more than like 2 turns of reduction or something, or 3 turns of reduction on Winch. The only time that really is the case is on Rafar's Vengeance and War Elephant, and more so on War Elephant, because Rafar's Vengeance is a premium removal thing, right? Like you're gonna reduce the cooldown with like Winch, and that's better. You can winch it and like wait an extra turn. That's fine. You don't need to Priscilla it. But the heal is just, it doesn't get any value. You really need the inspired. And if you're boosting this to then inspire with it to boost, it's usually just not worth it. Like you'd rather do something else. That being said, I can see some potential for her as more of a mid-rangey card, but I still think she's probably too expensive. Prophet Lebioda? Lebioda. I actually saw Lebioda the other day. First time I've seen him, I think, since he was released, basically. That's not true. I've used Prophet Lebioda before. I say Prince, I'm a Prophet. Here's the thing. 8 for 8 is actually not that bad on a card that has a lot of engine potential. Except his engine potential comes in the form of shields instead of points. That is quite interesting. Because shields really do protect your engines really well. Like, if you shield an engine, man, it's hard to remove. Think of Hefty Helga. Who removes Hefty Helga? Only other Nilfgaard players because they have Tourney Joust. So they really turn to things that you have to lock instead of kill with damage, which is actually pretty good. The thing is that shields don't give you inherent value unless you're blocking damage, which means he's not giving you value. Like, you think about Belahoon. Belahoon's protecting them while giving you points. Lebioda is protecting you without giving you points. He's just worth 2 more. So, again, this is a Cynic crossover card. I want to say Lebioda is interesting, but still weak. Like, there's potential there. If you've ever had someone play Lebioda on you, you know how annoying it is. Like, it can actually be a genuine issue, but often it's not. Like, often it just doesn't give them enough points of its own. But still, like, he's an interesting card. I will give him a week, though. I think he's got potential. I just don't think it's currently being realized. I think he needs a little help. Next up, we have Ada. Or not Ada, Queen Adalia. We'll start with an A. I think Queen Adalia is kind of hard to rate as well. She's good in what's it called? Literally decks for making you extra Griffin with your mentors. But you don't really need her for that. Like, you can play the deck without it, but I think she's pretty good there. That's pretty much your only use. And to be honest, I don't really follow how the Military decks get made because I'm not interested in them. So it's just what I see opponents play, and I don't see them playing Queen Adelia very much. That being said, I think we'll put her in good because the extra copy of the Griffmature Mentor is pretty solid. I don't know if you really need it. I'm going to put her in okay. I've changed my mind. We'll put her here. Why in this spot in okay? I have no idea. That's where now where she is. Yeah, we'll put her up here. Try and keep it alphabetical, I guess. I don't know. I don't see anything else from her deck necessarily. But yeah, Queen Adelia has some interesting uses. I think she's all right. I do think in the games I've seen with Military that I haven't seen her be played. I've seen other cards be used instead, like Germain for a point payoff, or stuff like additional, like you try and sneak a removal card in or something. Like the after Sunset Wanderers got buffed, I see that a little bit more than this. I don't know, but yeah, I think she's all right. I think she's generally better things you could do, with the exception of Military, where she's a pretty solid card. But outside of that, she is not that bad for getting extra engines. But you're paying too much, I think, generally. So I could see her being good, but I'm gonna put her okay. Meve. Queen Meve is really good. Queen Meve is really good. 9 provisions means she's Golden Necker range. She can often trigger her ability. She boosts all your units, right? I have a cooldown 3. If you play her between 2 inspired units, it goes off right away. And that's where she gets really nasty, because you drop her down, boost like 8 units, she's played for 15, and the opponent still has to remove her before she does it again. Like, that's where she gets really good. She's really good in Shield Wall engine decks. She's really good in Golden Necker decks that play wide. Just really good. I don't know if I want to put her in excellent. I want to put her in excellent, but I'm not sure I can justify it, and I think I can. Yeah, I think I can justify this. Yeah, Queen Move is really good. The other thing is she's actually very difficult to get rid of. Like, she's 7 with 2 armor. That takes 9 damage reach to get. That's a lot to ask. She has to be, like, hard answered with lock or punish. And in that case, if you've already gotten her ability off, she's played for what she's worth. And then you're just denying extra points. I think I like her up here. She's going to be joined by Rafard's Vengeance, though. Rafard's Vengeance is one of the best things you can use in Northern Realms if you're playing Inspired Zeal. Like, you Inspired Zeal this, it cycles a card out of your hand, which is often a second engine, so you're playing 2 engines at once. It can keep playing engines when you win shit and such. In addition to cycling your deck constantly and playing more cards, it's also doing damage when you play soldiers next to it, or mages, but usually soldiers. The idea of the card itself, like trebucheting through portals, is just kind of awesome. Love it. Nothing to do with building trebuchets myself. No bias there. But yeah, it's very cool. And it's also extremely good. It's extremely good. Reinforcement is okay. This is like my definition of an okay card. So you can play extra copies of engines in your deck by using reinforcements to make copies of them. It's a warfare, so it triggers your resupply, which is nice. The thing is, it costs 6. So you can usually save a provision by playing a different engine instead of like trying to make an extra copy of something. So I generally think it's an okay card. Sometimes it's pretty nice to have extra copies of certain engines. It's pretty useful, but I do think generally you're better off doing something else than running this. But sometimes it's not like it's bad. Like, you can use it. It's pretty decent. But yeah, I'd rather play something else most of the time. Same thing with Reynard Odo. Whenever I think of this, whenever I see this card, I think of Odo from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, but that's irrelevant. But yeah, it's just okay. Like, you can play Reynard Odo. He does have the ability to boost all of your other cards by 1 when you play them, which helps them get inspired. It helps them reach certain thresholds. And then he has the order when he gets his grace to boost all your guys by 1. That's pretty nice. And just, it's all right. Like, it's not bad. You can play him. And it's not too bad. It's just usually other things are going to fit in your deck a little bit better. Roche Merciless is only played for Blue Stripes Commandos. And even in those decks, you don't even play him all the time. I think Merciless makes it into weak. The death blow is annoying. Like, if the death blow wasn't so annoying, it'd be better. And you're paying 12 for this. 12 is a lot of provisions. Yeah, I think Merciless is weak. I think it's weak. Ronvid's good. Like, Ronvid's good. On the face of it, he doesn't seem that good, right? He's a 1 for 5 that boosts himself by 5. Hey, isn't there a really bad bronze that does this with exposed? Yeah, there is, but Ronvid's best thing is that he comes back each time you play a soldier. What does Kedwani Revenant have to be? A soldier. And it's not even just limited there. Ronvid is really good with Temerian infantry as well, because you can play a Temerian infantry on an empty board. He'll come back, you can boost it by the order for 10. Like, that's really nice. So, works great with Kedwani Revenant, works great with Temerian infantry. So they're both pretty good cards. And, well, one of them's better than the other, but they're both pretty good. And it works really well in certain decks. And technically, even if it's just one carryover, that one carryover has a lot of uses that you wouldn't just expect if you weren't familiar with the Northern Realms cards. It works really well. It also is a nice card to bring back for crew. Because you play a soldier that comes back, boom, you've got 2 soldiers out for crew. Granted, they don't always come to the same row, but still, like, it helps with crew as well. So, pretty nice. Sabrina's weak. Sabrina's weak. Like, the only problem with Sabrina is that she costs 8. 8 is a lot for what she does. Like, Lacerate is 2 to a row, that's like 6. And this is 3 damage, yes, but it requires more setup. You have to kill her. That's granted, that's not too hard in Northern Realms. You can do a lot of pings. You can, ideally, thematically, you'd play a Kedwani Revenant, kill her with a Kedwani Revenant. But usually opponents will be row stacking against you if you're playing Siege, just to avoid the reinforce, or just to avoid the regular Ballista. Like, they'll row stack a lot, and she can get good value. Just usually there's better stuff to do, and I think she's just too expensive still. Inferno, though, is a meme card. Here's the thing. If you have a bunch of Spectres out already, it means your Kedwani Revenants are working and you're already winning. And 1 damage to everything, even if it's 2 damage to all enemies, no one plays Tin Boy, and that's his tribute, right? I mean, no one plays Double Lacerate, Simlos, but those are expensive combos. This is not that expensive. It's 7. The problem is, you're going to hit yourself with this. Like, you are going to hit yourself with this for a bunch of the damage, and you, as Northern Realms, will often be swarming more than the opponent, which means this will hit you for more than them sometimes. And the only time it doesn't is when your Revenants are already working, in which case it's just like a win more card. So I think this is pretty neat. Maybe at 5 or something, but yeah, it's not good. Seltkirk. Ooh, Seltkirk is a hard one to rate. Seltkirk is going to go here, I think. I think I'm going with okay. Yeah, I think Seltkirk goes in okay. Seltkirk's not a bad card. If you inspired Zeal Seltkirk, it's a 7 duel. That's nice. Seltkirk falls off because of the Prince Anseis comparison, right? He's only 1 cheaper, which is a bit insane if you think about it, right? Like, this has formation, and it can duel if it's boosted, so you can just duel this out of your hand if it's boosted at all. He always needs the Zeal. He's 1 more power? That doesn't feel right. But anyway, I think he's okay. He might be in weak, to be honest. I'm going to go with okay. I think if Prince Anseis didn't exist, Seltkirk would still be a good card, potentially. But I think Prince Anseis just makes him kind of obsolete. And I think he should maybe deserves a buff. But yeah, Seltkirk, you're paying like 1 less than Anseis for a duel that you always have to Inspired Zeal. That doesn't feel good. It's not great. There's better things to do than him, like just run other things. But I don't know if I really want to put him in weak or not, because he's not that bad. But then again, no one plays him. Like, Inspired Zeal leader charges are very premium, right? They go on like Demavend, Rafard's Vengeance, and they go on Anseis and stuff like that. Like, they're very premium. You don't really have one to waste on it most of the time. Not that it's a waste, but yeah, I'm going to leave him okay. I'm just going to leave him okay because I think he has some potential, but I would not blame you if you put him down here. Shani is okay as well. Shani works really well with mages, but mage decks don't always play her. Yeah, I'm gonna give Shani an okay. Shani's interesting, this is good. Interesting cards are good to have. I'm gonna talk about her 2 main things. Her one main use is in Alumni Mages, where you bring back your students that you died in round 1, so they can keep taking their patient, or that didn't die, that like lived in round 1, or that died with a big patience number. You bring them back so their patience can get higher. That's nice. Often, if your patience is getting bigger like that, it can be more of a win more thing, but not always. Sometimes you bring back your 3 power guy, goes to 4, you're 4, and then your opponent can't kill this extra time, and that keeps ticking your patience up, which is nice. And outside of that, she's pretty good at bringing back like certain humans. Like, Carrick Marine coming back with her is actually really nice. That's pretty good. Like, she has some uses. And cooldown 7, yeah, that's a long time. And yes, the opponent will often have an answer for her before then, but it's not like they want to answer Shani. They want to kill other engines. So I think she's got a little bit of potential. I think she's okay. I don't think that her alumni use puts her up to good for me. It could. Like, maybe she does deserve up here. But I think she has a potential as a general card, too. I'll put her in. I think okay is fine. And the last thing before we move on from Shani, I do want to say is why we're putting her down here, even when she's like pretty decent in mages, is it's hard to fit Shani with the nerfs to Redanian Secret Service. Like, you want to run Secret Service in those decks. I think Shani's the first card you cut to try and fit those still. So yeah, we'll leave her here. Next up, we have Siege. Siege is excellent, even though it was recently nerfed to 14. Siege is an incredibly strong scenario. It puts out 2 engines, and then its final chapter is damage. So you develop engines while removing opponents' threats at the same time. You can overload on engines with it pretty effectively while killing the opponents, and that's where Siege really shines, is it gets engine value while killing the opponent's stuff, which is really good, and Siege does that really effectively. You can often carry rounds with this. Super strong. All right, let me think. How do we rank this? I have not found a spot for Siki. I don't think he's hopeless, though, so we're not playing a meme. So Siki doubles up on the deck boost you put on him. But he's weird, because he also has an order to play a boosted unit from your deck. So you want to have his order go off, because playing a card out of your deck's really darn good. The thing is, if you put all your boosts on him, you can't last say him and use his order, because you're not going to play Inspired Zeal with this most of the time. So I have not found a good deck for him. I think maybe just some things need some buffs, or like, I don't know, maybe he's too expensive for what he does. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I think Siki's got some maybe potential. Like, the thing is, you don't really need to tutor with him in this faction, because the faction has a lot of thinning and a lot of tutors. And his tutoring's weird because it has to be a boosted unit, which means you get to like deck boost multiple things. You just want to be stacking deck boosts on him. Maybe I'm just underrating him as a finisher if you deck boost him a whole bunch, but it's not like Nilfgaard where you're deck boosting Albric while also getting points on board. You're just deck boosting. So I don't know. I think Sigi, like, I think he's bad right now. I think maybe there's some potential for him in the future. Oh, you. Go with weak. Yeah, so you do the 2 damage on deploy, then the 2 damage order. It's just not good enough. It was a Sile, right? It's just not good enough. Yeah, it's just not good enough. She's just weak. I think she's too. I think she's just not good enough. The floor is not there. The floor is like she comes down to 2 damage. This upside is over 2 turns she can do 4 damage. That's not great when you just winch your Caraballista or like, you know, like play a removal card. She really has to be played for value, and the value's just not there. The time for our controversial statement. I think still the Temple of Melitele is the highest value card in the entire game. I'm just putting her here. Temple is the only card with 15 provisions at the moment, and to 17, and sometimes gets nerfed to 18. We'll just briefly go over why I think Temple is so incredible. Obviously, it's just so strong. There's not many other ways to say it. So you play Temple. It's really about first form Temple. Second form Temple is a bad, which is why you always play stuff like Demavend to find it. So Temple, you play it. You create 3 legendaries that weren't in your starting deck. Since your deck cycles a lot, you're likely replacing 3 of 4 provision cards you would normally play with 3 random legendaries. Now, obviously, they're not fully random because you discover each one, or choose, I should say. So you're getting, like, on average, a pretty good upside over those 4 provision cards you'd normally play. Right? So say you're getting, like, 4 extra provisions on average over the cards you'd normally play. That's 12 provisions added to your deck you're likely going to see. Then you use the order, and you get 9 or 10 points of carryover on Prince Anseis, which is worth double. So, because of his duel. So, you're looking at like 18 points of carryover, plus 12 provisions added to your deck for later. All carryover. That's crazy. Is it better than Muta Generator? Maybe even is. Very close. But yeah, these two of the greatest Keira cards are in the same faction. But yeah, it's super good. You don't even have to put it on Sace. You can just put it on like Radovid and Judgment, pull out of your deck later or something. Although I don't know why you wouldn't use Sace and do it there. Yeah, Temple's just a crazy card. You can high roll so well off of it, and you can low roll, but I mean, yeah, Temple's it's just so much value all in one card. And then later on in like Form 2, you don't want to play it in Form 2, but it still has some uses there. Like, you really don't want it there. You want to use the first form. Next up, we have Thaler. Thaler is okay. He's only played sometimes and literally as an extra card. Then he's weak. Yeah, he's weak. I'm good with weak. Eli's played in that deck. Like, he's not always played in that deck. It's not that common, at least from what I see. And yeah, I mean, the extra card draw, both players draw a card. It's not like something like Mata, where you draw something good and the opponent draws something bad. Or even like Ardell, where Ardell puts removes a boost or something. Your opponent effectively draws a bad card, and you draw a card. This just gives you both a card off the top, which is just only useful if you need to cycle. And if you need to cycle, there's better ways to do it than giving your opponent a card. Maiden Shield. Maiden Shield, I'm going to say is excellent, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna go with excellent. I'm debating between good and excellent here, but Maiden Shield is just so strong with Damsel, right? You play this at the end, you put the Warfare from this on it, the Mad Charge, and then you trigger this thing's Grace, you get your Bronwyn, this thing goes really tall, it has shield. The Bronwyn gets her order, it lets you double up on stuff. It's just really good. Super good. And the fact that it has the two Graces, lets you leader it really effectively, I just think it's really strong for Knights. I remember this card came out, everyone thought it was terrible, and that's really funny to me. Tisseya niche card. Tisseya only works on Meditating Mages, where you want a Meditating Mage spam. That's it. She's really good at that, but that's it. And that's not great, but I think that's enough of a use for me to put her in niche, because I don't want to say she's terrible when that ability is pretty good. Trollololo's okay. Okay to weak. It depends. How do I want to say this? Like, each time you use an order, gets the armor, and then you can move the armor to boost. How do I think about this? Yeah, I think it's going to fall in weak, actually. I think I'll move him down to weak. Yeah, I think Trollololo's been outshined so much by other combos. Like, yeah, you can use it with Traveling Priestess and stuff, but just use Traveling Priestess on an Onager or something instead, I think. So I'm going to put him in weak at the moment. Vandergrift's pretty good. Like, good Knight card. We have our Knight in here. I like sometimes grouping these together, make it easier. I think Vandergrift's pretty good. Solid carryover in Golden Necro deck. Solid carryover in Knights, especially Knights where you infuse him with the Squire effect, that his Grace will go off again. That's nice. The fact that he has double carryover is really good. Yeah, it's just a pretty good card. If he gets Purified, you can boost it to get the Resilience back, which is nice. Vandergrift's Blade's also a good card now, I think. At 7, it's 5 damage, but at 7, the value is kind of there now, right? 7 Frisians. If you kill a 5, you get 5 boost, that's 10 for 7. And then the boost can also be synergistic, which is nice. Like, I think it's cheap enough now. This card's pretty good. There's just enough synergies for this to be good, in my opinion. Vernon Roche, okay, I mean, yeah, Vernon Roche is excellent. Plays 2. Typically, you're going to play him in either a Military deck, which he enables the entire, not Military, Traveling Priestess deck. He enables the entire deck by playing Priestess and your payoff card, either Onager, usually Onager, or Sergeant at the same time. He's played in Engine Overloads, where you use him to thin your deck by 2 while playing 2 engines at once. Those are 2 specific uses, and they're 2 incredibly strong uses. Nothing else in the game can replace. So he's going to go up here. Vess, I think, is pretty okay to good. I will go with okay, I think, though. No, I think she's better than that. I'm going to put Vess in good now. 7 for 7 with 2 damage. That's 9 tempo. And then she can do, not resets. She can give you Zeal on a 3-turn cooldown. That's pretty good. 7 is a hard thing to remove, so you can usually count on her getting her ability unless she gets locked. And I think that with her amount of tempo now, she's actually, I think, a good card. Maybe more underplayed than the rest of these, but I still think she's pretty good. Vincent. Vincent. I have seen people play Vincent recently. Here's the thing with Vincent. He sets a non-boosted thing's power to 1. I'm putting him in niche because of the matchup dependency. I think that's fair. Against monsters, against something like Ogroids with a bunch of big boys, or against Griffins, you set something to 1, and that value, that's 13 for 6, that's really good, with some extra payoff if you've killed any Revenants. If you're setting something to 5 down to 1, it's 9 for 6, which isn't really good. So it's really matchup dependent. The thing is, I just don't think that matchups exists. I don't think there's enough. I'm moving down to weak. I don't think there's enough matchups where he's good, unfortunately. And you don't really need him to set up stuff like Revenant when you already have siege engines and stuff. Maybe if Gregoire de Gorgon was slightly better, you could combo there, but yeah. Firaxis Prince, I'm gonna put an okay. A Firaxis is you play him in the later forms to reset a dual card. That's what he's best at. When he resets your boosted Prince on Sace, you feel really good. However, you could typically run something else that's a little bit better most of the time. It's not the best, because often if you're playing a big boosted Prince on Sace, the opponent will remove it, because it's going to be your tallest card, and then you can't reset it. So you usually want to play him with multiple duels. And I think overall, he's alright, you can do that, it's not too bad, but probably something else is better. You went right by Seltkirk, because you kind of play them together. Next up, we have Vizigard. Now, Vizigard gets that 1 damage order for each of your guys. That has an order, I believe. It's a Blue Stripes Commando mainly. Vizigard. How do we do this? He doesn't have formation anymore. Once he lost formation, yeah, he's 6 with 2 armor. That is kind of hard to remove. But how often are you getting a payoff from him? Usually it's rather Voymir or Garrison Order or something else instead. I'm going to say he's weak. I think weak's fine. Speaking of Voymir, again, Voymir only gets used in commandos, and also Reavers. Reavers will play Voymir. I think it makes him okay. He's fine. A 1-point boost to all your guys is okay. You use them on Reavers and on Blue Stripes. More so on Reavers. Reavers is a more common deck. I think that makes it okay. He's an okay card. You can play him in Reavers as a finisher to boost up all your Reavers and stuff. But I think generally there's better stuff, things that protect Reavers better earlier, make extra copies or purifies, but it's alright. Vizgiota. I love Vizgiota in the books. Overall, though, I'm going to say Vizgiota's actually pretty, he's okay to good. 4 for 8 is very vulnerable, but he gets so many boost points. This is the card Nathaniel wants to be played with. I will say he is, I think he's more vulnerable than a lot of the engines, because he is, range locked. He is range locked, right? I'm not making that up. Yeah, he's range locked. Yeah, I'm just double checking there for some reason. For some reason, I randomly started doubting myself there. Yeah, he's range locked. I want to say he is okay. I think he's okay. He's not played that often, at least from what I see. And he does have the potential of at least 2 points a turn, unless your opponent's me and I'm discarding cards from my hand to try and get you. But otherwise, he's getting 2 points a turn. When you play cards, the opponent plays a card that comes back, you got 2 charges. And if you're playing tutors and stuff, you get more than 2, which is really useful. But other stuff get 2 points a turn, gets 2 points a turn as well, without being this vulnerable. That being said, it has a ceiling on it, and you can spread the points out nicely, has some combos. I think he's okay. I think there's generally some better stuff you could play than him. but I wouldn't blame you if you played him just as an extra engine. He does fit pretty well sometimes. I don't have as much experience with him at the 4 power level either, so this is like an experience thing too, because he just got buffed. War Chariot is weak, unfortunately. Yeah, War Chariot Siege Engine is 7. It can move an opponent or do bleeding depending on which row you played in, and then Cruise it does both. The 4 bleeding is actually that's like a decent amount for an order. It has a fairly long cooldown. And then the movement, I mean, moving with this doesn't feel good because you're paying so much to use movement. You really want that crew effect, and it's a bit expensive to put in your deck for that crew effect. So I think I'll leave it in weak for now. War Elephant. Oh boy. So there's 2 issues with War Elephant. Let's get the obvious one out of the way first. War Elephant just goes really, really tall. If War Elephant's working, it's just shooting up a whole bunch of points, and that's just it just screams reset me or kill me. The other issue with War Elephant is it can actually be a bit annoying to get him to have his crew, because as soon as you play him, the opponent's going to kill soldiers next to him. Yeah, you can usually get around that. It's not that big a deal, but you really want him going off twice. If he goes off once with this order, he's at 16 for 12. Now, that's not that bad, but you really want him going off more than once, which means you're trying to make that work. He's expensive. It's really expensive, 212 just to try and get a tall guy. I mean, why would I do that when I can just do something else? I get 16 points a couple other ways. It's order. He doesn't have a formation, so he can just not get his order off. Yeah, I think I like weak for him too. He's really expensive. Yeah. Next up, where do we want to put you? Windhelm, we'll go good on Windhelm. Windhelm is a 7. When I said 2-point per turn engine, Windhelm is 2 points per turn. Comparing Vizigard and stuff. Windhelm is 2 points per turn. If you're playing Shield Wall, you can reshield him. If you're playing Knights, it's fine. And usually just if you play him and he eats a ping, you can give him a Carrick Marine or something, get him back to 10, get that shield back up and going, which is pretty nice. So I think overall Windhelm's pretty good. He works really well in Knights. He works well in engine heavy decks. He works pretty well just in general with Shield Wall and also with Knights. And Runestone's going in meme. Where did we put the other Runestones? I actually don't remember. You know what? Let's go in here. It just goes where the other Runestones go. Do I remember where I put those? No. Did I make those videos very recently? Yes. So that's an issue. But let's just talk about the problems with Runestone real quick. So the issue with Runestone is it's really random. However, Northern Realms is less random because you're more likely to find an engine card or something that's pretty good. You can generally find an engine card. But it's just, you're not going to want to put this in your deck. Right? You don't want to put this in your deck. And that makes it feel pretty bad. Yeah, I think I put the other ones in weak, thinking about it more. I think maybe if this is 4, it'd actually get played, maybe. It doesn't have synergies, but I won't put it in meme until it's tried at 4. And that should do it for all the golds. Let me go through these, see what I think. Obviously, they're not ranked within the tiers in any particular order. I just put some of them together from the same deck. Obviously, this is not within order within the tier. Otherwise, this would move up, this would move up and such. It's just alphabetical for the most part. So I feel like anything's out of place in this top tier. Maybe you can move Kimbolt down. I just have a really high opinion of Kimbolt. Maybe Baron goes up. Let me look at this. Yeah, I'm gonna move Baron up. I think Baron's excellent. I waited till the end to see how the tiers develop for that. About the rest of these, all seem pretty. I'm pretty happy with this. All right, yeah, I think that's pretty good for the golds. I think we're happy that we just moved Baron up. I do like that better. I think Baron deserves to be in that top tier. And yeah, we'll just go right into the bronzes here and see how this goes. All right, let's get into the bronzes now. A quick water break there. Oh, here we go. Okay, here's our quiz for the day. What's this card called? I believe it's Adernian Mauler, and I'm just going with that because I'm pretty sure it's actually what it's called. And you all know where this card's going. This card's bad. It's 4/4 with a 2 damage order. Isn't this melee locked too? Yeah, it's also the only Adernian card in the game. This is so weird. But yeah, Adernian Mauler. Yeah, it's melee locked with 2 damage. Wow, this thing's bad. Oh boy. Yeah, it's terrible. Am I going to put this in meme? This card's really awful. There's no way to... It only gave power buffs. This was 6/4, the 2 damage order. Yeah, okay. I'll leave it in bad. I'll leave it in bad, just in case it gets like double off. Alumni is... I'm actually going to put Alumni up here in excellent. Alumni is such a fantastic card for the mage decks. Like, this is your big payoff. And what a payoff it is if your deck works how you want it to. That being said, it can be, like, obviously you're building your entire deck to do this, but is the payoff worth it? Sometimes. It depends how well you get your students going. I'm going to put this in excellent, though. I think it's really strong. We'll go okay on this one. So this is the one that gets each patience card you have on board, it gets +1 at the end of your turn for, which means you're basically transforming your patience points that you're not getting yet into points on this. And I think it's a neat idea, and it helps you make up for patience being really slow tempo wise, but it's not great. You'd rather develop more patience cards than play this usually. So you only play this at the end of the round where it gets a bunch of points, but then doesn't get those points for very long. Works best with meditating mage, but I think overall this card's pretty weak, sadly. Next up we have the Aretuza student. This is Aretuza apprentice or something. All right, student is where do we put student? Student's pretty good. Where's the other student? Where's Banard student? Let's just put them together real quick. Wow, they're really close alphabetically too. Because I should have thought about that for a second before being surprised. But yeah, I'm gonna put these two in good actually. They're pretty good engines for the mage deck. And like this one, the damage makes this one slightly better in removal cases. And then sometimes if you get really, really high numbers, this one's better because you don't overkill so much. But yeah, I think overall they're pretty good engines for mages. And yeah, I'll put them in here. Yeah. Often if you get these off of like a create card, you're not too upset because it is at the end of the day an engine you're getting. Ballista's okay. Like you could play Ballista as a one of siege engine. I should mention here that going into the bronzes, like the same tiers apply, just for okay. Often these are not often. These are sometimes cards you play like a one of, right? They're not good enough to put 2 in your deck, but like they're okay as a one of. But yeah, Ballista's fine. Like it's not too great. Nothing too great about, nothing too bad. If usually it's like your 5th or 6th, your final siege engine, you're teching for your siege deck. If you want a little bit more damage, you sometimes play this instead of like Siege Tower. Next up, we have Banard Guy. This is Mentor, right? Mentor's alright. This guy. No, Tutors. Banard Tutor. That's what it's called. Yeah, so he's alright, actually. I think generally you're better off doing certain other decks, like playing towards Alumni, or like playing other ways in your mage deck. But if you want to play a deck based around this guy, he can do it, right? He's 2 points per unique special. That adds up pretty fast. It's just kind of hard to get him past certain threshold values because you're going to be duplicating specials. But I think overall, Banard Tutor's not that bad. Battering Ram's going to fall right in the okay with him. It's going to actually fall right next to the Ballista. It's the same deal. Battering Ram's okay as an extra siege engine. And then dropping it down a tier to weak because it's 5 provisions. So you're not going to play an extra one of these that's 5. There's better things at 5, but Battering Ram, yeah, it's just okay. It's okay, but there's so many 5s that the competition pushes it down here. There were so many good 5s, I would put it up in okay, but there's just everything else is kind of better. And you're not going to pick this as your final siege engine when you can pick like a 4. Blue Stripes Commando's okay. Yeah, we're just kind of putting Blue Stripes Commando in okay because Blue Stripes Commando as a deck just functions all around this one card. And for that, we're just kind of giving him an okay for his deck here. Like, it's not the best deck, let's be real, but it's an interesting one. Like, not interesting like gameplay wise most of the time, but more interesting in like deck building and like deck building, like the concept of it. So I'm gonna put him in okay. Yeah, it's okay. Like, you're only gonna play him with his deck, but it's okay deck, I guess. Same deal here. Like, those two go together. Just make extra copies. Play that niche because of that. Boiling Oil is a pretty solid card. How do I feel about the... Like, I'm not going to put all the 5 damage removal cards in Excellent, I don't think. It just depends how useful they are. Now, Boiling Oil is a bit better because of the Warfare tag. It lets you cool down siege engines, which is nice. And the Purify can be something that specifically resilience-based decks have to worry about. But I think it still just goes in good. It's a good card. Bombardment is an okay card. Like, Bombardment's not bad. Like, you get random damage. It's good against tokens. It's good against opening cards. The damage does go up. As I said before, damage is good when it removes stuff or when it gets enough value that it plays for, like, on provision curve value. And this often will play for on provision curve value near the middle end of a round because of how many siege engines you have out. So it fulfills its role pretty well. And it's like an alright card. If you want more 4 Provision Warfare, you should put this one in. It's pretty good. But I usually don't like play 2 of this. Caro Ballista is a good card. 2 damage every 3 turns with the cooldown on it is nice. The fact that it's 2 at once is pretty nice. The fact that I can get crew for a little bit of armor is nice. Like, these are all nice things, but none of them are like oppressively good things. So I think it just fits in the good tier pretty nicely here. Do I want to move these down? I'll probably move these down, actually. Nah, they're saying good. You need them in the deck. Casting Contest is a good card also. Casting Contest has so many uses. The main use you see Casting Contest on, obviously, is the Mage Students. It's also fantastic on Temerian Infantry. It's also actually pretty fantastic on Kedwenny Revenants. Like, it depends what your deck is, but if your deck's playing either both of these, it's good because you can reset both of these, or in like Temerian Infantry, it's really good on Infantry and Kedwenny Revenant. So I think it's overall a good card. Even if you just throw this thing on a Carrick Marine, that's still 9 points. Centurion Spellweaver is a good card. You can make whole decks based around Spellweaver. It's 1 ping per spell and per mage you play, and often you can play more than one of those in 1 turn. Not often, but often enough that you get like 2. I think I'm gonna leave this in good also. At 4 power, it's a bit harder to deal with, or a bit easier to deal with, but still pretty good. The Centurion Artificer is pretty weak. Looks like it has Formation. Now, he's got some stuff going for him. He's Formation, so he comes down as 5 for 4 with an order to give a shield. Here's the thing. We kind of talked this a little bit with Leviota. Shields are fantastic for protecting cards from removal, but they're a lot worse at giving you value, because if you're not protecting, you're not getting value. So, like, just say for example, the opponent holds an Alzir's Thunder. If you give a unit 2 boost, they can still get 5 value out of the Thunder by zapping your guy. They can't zap your guy with a shield because it does nothing. If they just zap something else, they still got that 5 value. So, like, shields do protect your engines, but let's just take the other case where instead of this giving shield, and let's say this gives shield, they zap something else, they get 5 value, right? You got 5 value. Let's say that instead this boosted by 3. You got 7 value and they zap for 5. Sure, they might remove the engine, but if this is boosted, you'd still be up on value there. So, yeah, it's weak. It just doesn't have enough points on its own. Enchantress is going right down in bad, though. So this used to be the Scoia'tael bonded effect of Vitalities, right? So she has 2 Vitality, and then bonded 4 Vitality. Northern Realms doesn't care about Vitality. They don't care. They're not going to spam bonded for this, where they have Meditating Mage, if you really want to spam bondeds and reavers. So this is just way at the bottom, and you know what? It's going in meme tier, because there's no reason you'd ever play this because every other bonded option is good. Like the other bonded cards are so much better than this. Like this just doesn't really have. It's like a holdover from when the card that should have gotten reworked and never did. Cintran Envoy though, this card's all right. Well, Envoy okay. It has some use in specific decks. It's occasionally it doesn't really have its own deck. The deck boosting stuff doesn't really work out anymore, but it does help you find your golds, which is nice. And the one thing it is nice for is Melidily. Sometimes you can tech one of these in your Melidily deck if you like a 4-person slot. They can help you make sure you find your Melidily on top of your deck for your Griffin with your mentors. So because of those reasons, I think it's an okay card. Cintran Knight is also okay. Yeah, it gets played in Knights just because it has Grace on it. Sometimes Grace is nice, but like you don't want to play 2 of these most of the time. So you might if you really want to lean into the Grace and your Damsel in Distress, but yeah, I think it's an okay card. Like, it's fine. Royal Guard. We just lost on our tier list somewhere. Hello, Royal Guard. Where'd you go? I swear it just vanished. Oh, there he is. He wants the Fallen weak. And you know what? I'm just going to straight up say it. I don't think it's actually weak. I think Cintran Royal Guard's okay. Obviously, you need a deck to spam these, but if you are spamming them, it is a lot of points pretty fast. Like, you just drop one of these down, you hit it with a mobilization leader, then you drop a third one. All of a sudden, that third one's like 11 for 5. You need to play so many for us to be good for it, though. No, I think it is weak. I'm gonna stick with it. It wanted to fall in the weak tier, I'm gonna put it there. It's not that bad, but if you're spamming copies of stuff, usually you'd rather be spamming something like Reavers. That being said, in decks like Reavers, you can just play a couple of these for round 2 or 3 instead of just playing more Reavers. I think Cintran Royal Guards like it has some potential, but like I haven't seen it in forever. Yeah, I think maybe it needs a buff. Then we have this is a good card, Cursed Knight. 7 for 4 on a tech card is kind of unheard of, and this is a tech card. So the reason this is so good. It's just 7 for 4 is not that bad if you just have to play it without its effect. And its effect has some very niche uses, which means it has to be like more high value than something like Squirrel or Peller, who have very common uses. Obviously, the best case for this is you hit the opponent's false Siri. That's typically what you do. You hit the opponent's false Siri with this, you're so happy. It also works great against Rupture if you ever get hit by a Rupture. That's super uncommon, but it works really well against Rupture. It works well against Poison because it makes the opponent spend another Poison on you. A lot of good, not a lot, but like some good uses where it's very impactful. And I think that lands it right up here. The fact that 7 for 4 is just good value on it too if you have to play it. Sorceress, where's Immortals? Like these two are just tied together. There's Immortals. Same tier. Not as common nowadays to see Sorceress Immortals, but still played in Knights, still played in Golden Necker decks. Still playing Shield Wall Witchers. Like it's just good. It's 4 points a turn on a 2-card combo. That's a lot. And even if it's not used together, this still gets good value on random things that have shields like Immortal Cavalry. Dunbanner is alright. Dunbanner's alright. I've used Dunbanner a few times. So when you boost the Dunbanner, it summons the other one out of your deck. The 2 copies, 4 for 4 Thinning's pretty standard nowadays after all the Thinning got buffed. The reason that this isn't as good as the other ones is often giving it a boost can be a little bit of a pain. That being said, it has some synergies with Voltus, and you can certainly get the boost off if you want to. Like you're playing an Uprising deck, you can use this to thin. If you have orders that boost, you can use this. It's just not as common. There's other better ways to thin in Northern Realms, but it's not that bad if you want to go for it. Field Medic. Ooh. Field Medic's just bad. Yeah, Field Medic's bad. I don't have much to say about this. It boosts the adjacent things by 2. It's just... yeah. Oof. Not good. The value's not there. And the setup is annoying too. Forbidden Magic's okay. Do I want to put it up in good? It works decently well in Cursed decks if you want to spam as many Revenants as possible. Decently well. But the problem with those decks is if you're spending so much on making Revenants, you might not have enough engines to actually ping the enemy stuff down for the Revenant to kill. I think I like okay for Forbidden Magic. Griffinwisher Adept is pretty good. In Witcher decks, it's really strong because he transforms the students. Each time this transforms a student, it's a +3. Which is really nice. But now it's 5 provisions. Used to be 4, but like now it's 5. That's not bad. Like 3 points a turn on this, if you're getting its order, is really nice. So that's nice. Sometimes you have to transform things that aren't 2, but yeah, it's a good card. Mentor. I want to put Mentor up here. Mentor is excellent. The reason it's excellent is because of how well it enables militantly, and the fact that it is giving you hand boost and carryover to enable Traveling Priestess as well. It's really good. It only goes in those decks, but those decks are very potent. So the fact that it enables them, I think warrants it to be up here. Next up, we have Griffin Witcher and Griffin Witcher Mentor. Mentor is okay. Like it can be a tech option. If you have an opponent playing a bunch of boost or a bunch of wide guys, you get this guy and gets a bunch of points. You can transfer his boost to something else to protect it to enable a Zeal card. It can be alright as a tech option depending on your deck. It's alright. I wouldn't say it's weak because it does have some uses, but I think it's a little on the underplayed side. Regular Griffin Witcher is gonna go. I think I'm gonna actually take this into excellent. There's 2 specific synergies that make Griffin Witcher up here. The first is the fact that if it's veiled, it cannot lock itself. So if you have Crystal Skull Griffin Witcher, the opponent has to kill the Griffin Witcher, or accept that in a long, drawn-out round 1, they're taking 3 damage a turn from this, plus it's ping, so 4 damage a turn. And that's often enough to secure you the round 1 if you play all the way down to like 1 or 2 or 0 cards. The other thing is, it has really good synergies with stuff like Sangreal and the Radiant Secret Service to purify itself if the opponent's not offensively locking you. Like if they're not locking your stuff, you can purify your own guy and get 3 value out of it, which is nice. I think this actually fits it up here. Immortal Cavalry is okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's what, 8 for 5 across 2 bodies with shields. 8 for 5 is an okay amount. It's 2 bodies, which is nice. The shields can give you like a value. Yeah, it usually gives you like a value. Like maybe a ping hits it or something. But for the most part, just 8 for 5. And if you are playing a deck that has like Sorceress, you want like a backup shield thingy of 5 provisions, it's not too bad. But yeah, it enables crew pretty effectively too, actually, because these are both soldiers. But for the most part, I think it's just an okay card. If you have 5 provisions left, it's a card you can consider putting in. This kind of winning Knight, I believe. Oh wait, this is one Knight. Oh no, we're getting confused. Whatever. I think one's Cavalry, one's Knight. We're gonna go check. I have this up anyway. Cavalry and this one's Knight. Okay, we got them backwards. We knew the names. Right, this one's Cavalry. This guy has, when he loses shield, he has shield, and when he loses his shield, he boosts himself by 2. Let's think for a minute here. If this loses shield and boosts himself by 2, it's worth 6 points. That is 2, right? Like, we're not making that up? Yeah, it's 2. 6 points conditionally is terrible. That's going down here. Yeah, I mean, it's just really bad. Like, this needs more base power. It needs more base power so that the payoff of removing the shield actually gives you something equivalent to a normal 4 version card. K20 Knight is okay, though, actually. So this is 4, and then it boosts himself when it comes out of your deck. I'm going to say it's okay. It gets played in Knight decks sometimes, and portals sometimes. I say sometimes a bit generously there, because it only does get the 3 points when it comes out of your deck. Yeah, I did think this is wrong. Yeah, this is 5 base power now. I don't know why I forgot to put that in here. We're not going to go grab it right now. I'm just checking that I don't have a second copy down here. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have the second one. Must have not dragged the image into probably put in the wrong folder. But anyway, probably put in like Skellige folder or something. But yeah, it says 5 for 4. I'm not going to grab the image right now because we're getting really long in this video. But it's 5 for 4, and it comes out of your deck, boosts self by 3. 8 for 4 out of the deck's pretty nice. That's like what Fiend does when you portal it. So it works well with Portal. You can pull it off of the Damsel in Distress if you're feeling lucky. Well, not feeling lucky. You can pick it off of Damsel in Distress. And then you can also just play with portals. Like, it's alright. It's an okay card. A little bit less commonly played than the other ones in this tier, but I still think it's okay. The 5 base power helps a lot. Kedwenny Revenant is an excellent card. One of the first cards buffed by the Balance Council. And I think Revenant, 4 for 5, it's incredibly good. If this order goes off, it's 5 points per turn, assuming you're killing an opponent's card with it. 5 points per turn is really hard to come back from. Plus, they're killing your stuff. Now, often they'll be killing their own stuff with like Ronvid or like playing 1 power cards like John and then killing them. But you can pretty reasonably expect this to go off each turn. And that's a lot of value. And it's super strong. Definitely goes up here. Next up, we have our guy with the 3 charges. This is Kedwenny Infantry. Kedwenny Sergeant. Sergeant, not Infantry. Okay. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of Kedwenny guys. Only one Adarnian, but we'll go with this. I think he's okay. Now, you play him with if you give him formation, it's 7 for 4. If you don't give him formation, it's 6 for 4. But the 3 boosts go spread out. Works well with Onager, which you sometimes see him in Onager decks. You you see him in Ship Ballista decks too, because there's a lot of orders on this that actually help out with the Ship's Ballista. So he has some decks he works well in. It just usually he's one of the last cards you fit in those decks, but he works okay in them. And honestly, 7 for 4 value, like the fact that he has the formation means it's pretty hard. Usually you're going to either get the 6 with the 3 chargers or play him range in a really engine overload deck with Ship's Ballista, but he has some spots to play in. Carrick City Guard is a bit weak. Yeah, I'm going to go with weak. 3 for 5 with a 1 point per turn engine, that just doesn't cut it in the modern state of Gwent. Pretty much everything is 1 point per turn. It's higher than 3 for 5 right now. So the movement order is nice that he has it, but it stops its engine when you use it. Whereas unlike something like Aristocrat, the Onel Aristocrat, which keeps its engine effect when it gets used, and its engine effect's not as good. So this is just weak, I think. It probably needs to be a 4 Persian card. Next up, we have this guy. He's got formation and he has bleeding. Again with the bleeding, like there was almost like an attempt for Northern Realms to do bleeding. It just doesn't work. This card's weak. It's weird because it does do 4 bleeding, which is 7 for 4 with the bleeding, but there's just much better stuff at 4 provisions to run than this. So it doesn't make the cut. Frigate is very good. I want to put Frigate in excellent. I'm going to put it in excellent. Frigate is one of those engines that it just has such a high ceiling. It's with crew, it's 2 a turn, and Frigate's one of the easiest cards to give crew to because how the ability works is it spawns the crew, it spawns the soldier with its effect, then it checks for crew. So if you have a soldier on the left and use its ability to spawn the token on the right, it will then see it has crew and have cooldown 1. And then you can just cycle it with the Siege. We'll get to the Siege Masters later. When you cycle with Siege Master, you just play a Warfare, you can do it again, then you're looking at 4 turn off of it each time you play a Warfare. It's really good. Just really good. It has great synergy with stuff like Meve. Works great to give you a pretty powerful round 1 and stuff like Melidily. It has a lot of really great uses. Marine's like the default example of a strong devotion card. 4 for 4, the 4-point boost. 8 for 4 is premium. That's super good for a 4 version card. And it's on a boost, so you can protect stuff with it. You can avoid it just being like a tall guy. Oh, you want a tall punish of 4 anyway. But like it's just really good value. Has synergies. Excellent card. Knight Errant. Where do we put Knight Errant? Between these two. We'll go with good. Go with good on Knight Errant. I'm close though. Like Knight Errant's one of those really strong 5 version engines. You love Knight Errant in your Knight deck. I'm gonna leave it here though. I don't think it's in the same tier as other cards. So Knight Errant, obviously, it gets 1 point a turn for each boosted guy next to it. And then once it gets to its grace, it gives them shields, and the shields get the infused effect that when they're removed, They boost the guy by 2. Works great with the Immortals and Sorceress because you can remove the shields with Sorceress in case your Immortals gets answered. And that's a lot of points. But it does damage himself if it's got damage stuff next to him. But Knights boost so much, usually doesn't happen. But yeah, really strong engine. Lyrian Arbalister. Very good card. The Core of Ship Ballista Arbalist decks. You play this guy, and then you hit it with Mobilization. You play it, and then you play a bunch of cards with orders. Each time you play a card with order, it gets a charge, and that can do a bunch of damage. So you can save up a whole bunch of charges and fire your ship's ballista. You can just save a bunch of charges and kill stuff, too, later in the round. It works well when you're spamming engines. I think it's a good card. Lyrian Cavalry, though, is a bit weak. This guy gets +1 each time you play a card with orders. The issue is you'd rather, if you're playing stuff with orders, you'd rather be playing things that have orders. So for example, what do I mean? I mean, this gets synergy from orders, but also has order itself. So I keep playing more and more of these, I'm getting effects on the first one, then the second one when I play the third and fourth, for example. If I play this one, I'm not getting anything when I do the second one, if I make another copy of this. So you just like play this, and then, yeah, a lot of Northern Realm stuff has orders, but a lot of Northern Realm stuff just happens to be engines that are just better than getting 1 point a turn on this. Lanchknecht, which I probably pronounced wrong again, you guys let me know, I'm sure I did, is okay. It's a decent card in Mutagenerator decks, where you boost it in your deck, and then it does 3 damage when you play it. That's alright. It's nothing special, though. It has a spot as a potential like card you play around short round 2 or 3. When you're playing a Mutagenerator deck, it's fine for that. It's fine. Scytheman is a bit weak. Yeah, Scytheman I'm going with a bit weak. It's 4 for 4, and it gets +1 boost for everything on the row that's boosted. Now, that does actually seem like it should be okay. The problem is, the decks just don't support it. Like, Uprising's not great. And then everything else where you're boosting more, you'd rather just do something else. Like, you'd rather be having something else most of the time. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it in weak. Mad Charge is okay, though. Only gets really played in Knights because they have these synergies with Warfares. They don't have synergies with Warfares, I mean. They have it doesn't have good synergies with normal Warfare decks with the boost and Vitalities. That works well with Knights, though. So you can play one of these in Knights, maybe 2. Depends how much you want to have a little extra way to boost your guys. It gives armor, Vitality, and boost, so the Vitality goes on Knights only, but that's a lot of protection to a card. So it's alright, you can play this. Like, hitting your Knight Errant with this, it gets Raven Net Grace pretty protected, so it has some play. Meditating Mage. I'll put Meditating Mage in okay. You can spam a bunch of Meditating Mages, and then play Tisea, and then you get them all into round 2 and 3, and then you just have like 100 points of carryover. There's just better stuff to do. It's too vulnerable to removal. Meditating Mage is too small, so it's really hard it's really easy for the opponent to deal with. But generally you can do it. I just don't think it's very good, but it's going to go in okay because its entire deck's based around it. Kind of like Blue Stripes Commando, the entire deck's based around it, but it's not that great of a deck, so I'm going to put it in okay. Onager, where's top tier? Let's just throw Onager up there right away. Onager's really insane. It's 1 damage ping each time you use an order, but Northern Realms has so many orders that this ends up being a lot of damage. Plus you can stack all the orders in 1 turn if you want to, like save them up, then drop Onager and go pew 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 pew. Gotta throw the sounds effects in there. But yeah, just really strong engine. PFIs are, they're between okay and good. They are pretty good in the cursed decks, though. Like, they're really good foods for your Kedwenny Revenants. I'm gonna put them in good because of that. And they also spawn 3 bodies across 6 points. 6 points across 3 bodies. That's not great. But the fact is they're just there for Kedwenny Revenant, and they also give you crew pretty easily. And then if you don't have the Revenant, you just play them with the Bonded, it's +3. Then what you're looking at, 15 on 2 4-inch cards. That's not bad. Like, that's pretty good. So yeah, we'll put it in good, I think. Practice makes perfect. I mean, this is just an Alumni Mage card. I think it's weaker than the other ones, though. You just mainly try to set your deck up, so each time you use this, it replays an Alumni, you can use the order again. The boost is pretty nice on it. Like, the boost usually gets up to be pretty good, but if your deck's not working perfectly, you don't get this cycling the cards you want each time, because it can be a bit random. That's why you don't play stuff like the extra mages in Alumni decks. Like, you don't really play these or these, or, you know, those other ones are this one, right? Because you want to make sure you're getting alumni and stuff off of the practice. I'm going to say practice is okay. Maybe I just don't like this card, but I feel like the other ones are better. It's fine. I think you just play it because you have to. Like, okay, for bronzes in particular, okay doesn't mean they're, like, unplayable. All right, next we have Radovid's Royal Guards. Radovid's Royal Guards is all right. If you want to open up with a card that protects your other cards, it's not that bad, because you play this range with formation. Your opponent doesn't really want to spend removal on this, but they often will just to prevent you from protecting something else. But if it lives, you're giving 2 points and 2 armor. It played for 7 then, with 2 extra armor. Like, that's pretty good. It's a solid protection card. Just usually you'd rather play additional engines over this. But if you have 4 provision spots left and you have a lot of engines you want to protect, it's not that bad to include. Reavers. Okay, let's how do we rank Reavers? Reavers is not a great deck, but it only exists because of this card. I will give Reavers the good, I think. Reavers is not a great deck, but it's not a terrible deck. I think Reavers is better than Blue Stripes Commandos and Meditating Mages, for example. Yeah, I think it's better than those. And honestly, if you ever like create a random Reaver, it's not that bad, right? It's 2, it spawns a 1, that does damage. I think everyone knows what Reavers does because it's super common to see this deck, especially at lower levels, I've been told. Because you make a Reaver, you keep making more and more Reavers, and each time you spend your turn, it's like 9 damage to your opponent, like pew 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 pew, just smack everything. And that's really good. It's just, it takes a long time to set up, and it's expensive provision-wise to make your deck based around this. But I do think it's good enough, I'll give it good. I think it's better than like Blue Stripes where you gave it like an okay, and like Meditating Mages, so give it good. Reaver Scout. Now this card though, it's going up here. I think Reaver Scout is excellent. This might be controversial, but think about it. This makes the Reavers. This makes extra copies of your, where is it? Lyrian Arbalist. Makes extra copies of your Royal Guards. Even if you just get this in your deck and you like make extra copy of Carrick Marine, like extra copy of Carrick Marine made with this is pretty good too. That's 10 for 6. That you can casting contest this is one of the other best casting contest targets. I think this card is excellent because of what it enables. It enables you to play these decks that really want to play copies of stuff. It's like a must-answer card for the opponent. I might just see this in good, but I think the potential of this card is so high. The fact that you like have to kill this, I think puts it up here. Redanian Secret Service. It's a bit weak. It's 1 point per turn engine, but it boosts stuff in your deck. So you're not getting tempo on board. You really need this. This is just here to enable stuff in your deck, and there's better ways to do that. Mutagenerator is better. Like, yeah, there's just much better ways to do this. Archer, though, is okay. Yeah, it's okay. Pretty much all the other 5 Persian engines are better. You just play this in like Ship Ballista, where you want as many orders as possible in the same turn, and it's okay for that. The problem with it is like it doesn't. The problem with it is it gets disabled just by getting exposed, which is the 2 armor, and it's range locked. So like it's not as good, but it has a spot in that deck, but it's not great in that deck. So I'm gonna put it in okay. Next up, oh boy, yeah. Redanian Infantry, I want to say. Redanian Elite, okay. You know, I was being generous here, not giving this Elite. But this card is not Elite. It boosts itself by 6, right? It was 6. Yeah, 6. The Exposed resets itself. We mentioned this card earlier. It's a 7 for 4. Yes. It's vulnerable to resets. If it takes 3 damage, it goes to 1. We've seen something very similar to this with a Kikimor Worker and off of that you only ever see off of Hive Mind. But I mean, come on, this is just terrible. It's the same deal. The risk is nowhere near worth it. This has to be In order for this card to be okay, it has to play above a normal 4-Persian card because of the downside of potentially getting reset. The exception to this is cards where the value is not that bad. So for example, there's something similar in Nilfgaard, right, with Tortoise, which is 7 for 4, that they hit the 2 armor off, they get 3 points. So 3 points goes on their tallest card, which you're probably going to remove anyway. And they're only getting an extra 1 point out of putting the 2 damage in. In this case, they put the 3 damage in, and they get 6 out of it. That's like a 2 for 1 exchange instead of like a 2 for 3. That doesn't often matter for Tortoise. So, I mean, yeah, this is just really bad. They did 3 base power, so it was a 9, and it could reset down to a 3. It needs some really high ceiling like that. So yeah, this is just a meme card. It's never going to get boosted to that, or buffed to that. Radiant Knight is pretty good, on the other hand. Obviously, it's a knight, has some grace synergies, works well in knights, and it actually is just like a decent engine card. If you're playing a deck that has a 4-Persian slot left, you want to put an engine in, it's not too bad. The fact that it gets value when the armor is removed is nice, so that row locked isn't that big of a hindrance then. Yeah, it's just pretty good. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's take a real card up here. Secret Service is excellent. Secret Service is incredible. 2 for 7. Now it has been nerfed pretty severely. It was previously 1 for 6. That was much better because you just put it in every Northern Realms deck to cycle your deck. And then it came out as a 1, you'd kill with Kennet and Revenant. Which, I mean, that's really good. Now, it's more about being an actual Purify card. Because previously you just played it to cycle, and then it was out. Now, 2 for 7. 7's expensive for bronze. Very expensive. But you can play one of it and still be really happy. Because you thin it out of your deck when you play your Stratagem or your Shield Wall, depending on what deck you're going to use. Otherwise, when the opponent locks your guy, it pulls itself out and unlocks. That's the main use. Very good. I still think it's very good. It thins your deck. It comes out with Purify. It tempo answers an opponent's lock where they think they're locking you, and you're like, nope, I have a Secret Service. And they can never know you're playing Secret Service. Like, not everyone does, but it's really good when you are, and they try and lock you, and you're just like, nah, I don't think so. You can also tutor out when you wish to if you're playing decks that give yourself statuses. And overall, really strong card. Reinforced Ballista is also going to drop right up in that top tier. You might think 1 damage a turn ping engine isn't amazing, but it's the synergies and it's the warfares. Right, like this with Onager, you're just blasting stuff. This, you ping, you fire a warfare, you ping again. It adds up really fast, the damage on this. And the fact that it's 1 and you can do more than 1 per turn if you're playing warfares, just lets you set stuff up effectively, and additional removal is really good. Also has great synergies with important cards like Henselt, with Onager, with all the warfares, with Kennet and Revenants. Super useful. I'm trying not to mention Siege Masters because we'll get to them when we get to them. Reinforced Ballista is weak, unfortunately. It's row locked, which is annoying. It's only 1 damage per turn. It's random damage, and it needs crew to not be row locked. It's just not quite good enough. Like this, you only ever see this off of Siege. Honestly, the card itself probably needs a buff. Rivian Pikeman, though, is actually an alright card. Some people might be shocked by this up here. I think this card's okay. I play this card fairly often as a one-of. But yeah, it's a 5 for 5. Its order is 2 damage, so that's 7 for 5. And its Death Blow is lower the cooldowns of everything on its row by 1. If you lower the cooldown of one thing by 1, it's an 8 for 5. If you lower 2 things, then you're looking at pretty good value there. But yeah, and it's Death gets the Inspired. Usually you can get the Death Blow. You don't have to worry about the Inspired part, because usually if you're trying to lower cooldowns, you're playing Siege engines that are doing damage. So you can usually get that to work out pretty well. And it's alright as a one-of. Like, it's a pretty solid one-of card. It's also a soldier, so it synergizes with the crew requirements. Not too bad. Runeword is a very good card. Specifically for mages and Cintron Spellweaver. Let's put X Spellweaver. But yeah, very good card. It creates usually it can create an engine that has a shield on it, so it's hard to deal with. It makes an engine and a spell in the same turn, which means you get 2 charges on Spellweavers. And it's just really good. It like gives you ways to create stuff that you have extra copies of for, like, say your opponent kills both your students here, try and make another one. Like, it's pretty useful. I'd say it's a good card. Ship's Ballista has nowhere to go except the niche tier. Yeah, we'll go with Ship Ballista and niche. Now, Ship's Ballista is weird. It's 6 provisions, and it does 2 damage. That's really bad. But for each order used in the same turn, the damage goes up. So the main use for this is you play a deck completely based around stacking as many orders as possible, and then all of a sudden you shoot like 100 orders in one turn, fire this into something with low power, Flotsam, reset it, fire it again, and then you have like a Witcher trio that comes out for 250 points or something ridiculous. So that's its only use, is to the combo with a lot of stuff like that. Now, I think it just fits a niche because I don't know how else to rate that. And that's not, like, if you're already engine overloading like that, the ship's ballista, the damage that it does in round 1 doesn't matter. It's just for carryover. Are there better things to do than that? Yeah, probably, but it does work fairly effectively. So, like I said, niche doesn't mean the card's bad. Niche is just like, it doesn't have like an easy way to rank it. It has like a specific use. And it might be good at that use, so I think I'm putting it here. I'm going to say weak on the Siege Ladder. So Siege Ladder, you play to move one of your own guys and has like crew boost itself by 2. It's technically a siege machine, or siege engine, but still, I mean, you don't really want to play this. You don't want to move your own guys. I mean, the only time you want to move your own guys is like Blue Stripes Commandos. You'll play one of these. Sometimes you play it in Reavers, but it's a bit weak even in those. Now let's get to the best bronze in Northern Realms. And I don't think that's very much up for debate, to be honest. I think Siege Masters is the best bronze in Northern Realms. Yeah, so let's talk about this card. Siege Masters is legitimately insane. So you play a Siege Engine. This comes out of your hand and you draw a card. It goes next to the Siege Engine. Now, why is this so insane? It's a 5 provision cycle your deck by 1. It's a 5 provision thin. It's not really conditional because you're going to play Siege Engines. And it has synergies, right? It gives you a crew, part of a crew, and it has a cooldown reduction on its ability. So you're often getting like an extra point out of this when you use it. Now, the fact that you can play this in I'm pretty sure every Northern Realms deck I've seen in the last month has played this card, except for Reavers. It's that good. Like, it just cycling your deck is that good. Thinning your deck's incredible. This thing does it super effectively, and it has synergies. Like, it gets point value as well. You can cool down stuff. I mean, have you ever played this? The best thing about this is you play it with Frigate, and then you just hit the Frigate. You play this. 2 of these come out, click the Frigate 3 times next turn, and you thin your deck by 2. Yeah, this honestly insane. I'm surprised this hasn't been nerfed yet. And then we have Siege Support is good. It's a good card. I think Siege Support fits in good. Now, Siege Support doesn't have much value on its own. It's a 4/4 that can either reduce a cooldown or boost by 1. That's not that much value, but it has Give a Unit Zeal on a 4 provision thing your opponent's not going to remove for the most part, which is nice. Does it fall into okay instead of good? Maybe. I'm a little biased towards it. I think it's pretty solid. You know what? Yeah, I do think it's pretty solid. I think it's better than these. I'm going to leave this in good. I think it's pretty good. Just the ability to give things Zeal is nice. The opponent's not going to remove this, and the extra 1 cooldown on deploy can sometimes make a difference. Siege Tower, though, is okay. If you want an extra Siege Engine in your deck, often you play one of these to like fill up your last spot. You don't think you have enough engines for your Siege, you play this, and then it works out pretty decently, like it's fine. It's 1 point a turn on a 2 cooldown ability. If you have crew on it, you can winch it and such and cool it down, and then you're getting more than 1 point per turn because it boosts instead of vitalities, but it's alright. Smoke Them Out is a meme card, though. Yeah, Smoke Them Out's meme. It spawns 2 soldiers, and then it has the boost them by 1 condition. But I mean, you don't want to do this. If you want a bunch of soldiers, play PFI. Or Immortal Cavalry or something. Just don't play this. It's a warfare, yeah, but any other warfare is better. That's not true. Where it's better than Bloody Flail. Anyway, Squire is very good. Spire, don't know what Squire, where's Knight Errant? Spire of Knight Errant. Yeah, I like this. So Squire, it's a 4/4, and then it has the order. The next card you get gets 2 points. 6/4. You can use the 2 points as carryover, and then you can say, let's got 2 points of carryover and a 4/4. What you really do is you infuse a knight with it, and then the knight gets +1 a turn. And then you're talking, because then you're infusing an engine, you're infusing something that really wants more points, like a Vandergrift, like a Knight Errant, and then that carrying over is a little bit better of an order. And overall, Knights, the Squire is just a solid, good, solid card. Good card for Knights. Then we have, target practice is, It only goes with Witchers. And in Witchers, it's 4-point boost and spawn a 2-power token. And the token's often what you like there, because you can transform the token. I'm going to give it an okay tier. I think target practice is fine. Like, it does what it does pretty well for the decks that want it, but it's never like the card you're excited to put in your deck. You're like, well, maybe I'll use this, get an extra token, maybe play one of these or something. I think it's all right. Getting near the end here, we have the Temerian Drummer. Oh, Drummer's okay. That Drummer's all right. It's never an engine you want to like base your deck around, but if you have a 5 version slot left, you just want an additional engine that does some boosting, Drummer's not bad. You pretty commonly see one of these in things like Shield Wall engines, where it's pretty solid, but you don't really, it's never like a super strong card, it's like a card, yeah, that card's not bad, I'll put it in. It's a decent engine. I think that's a good spot for it here. And it works well with things that want inspired, because you put this next to the thing that wants inspired, and then it boosts it each turn, so the opponent has trouble if they're just pinging it down, so I think it's all right. Temerian Infantry, this might be spicy. I think I rank this deck higher than most people do. I think Temerian Infantry is excellent. Yeah, I think it's excellent. Usually you want to have those 5-liter charges with Radovid, and this is a 13 for 6 where it puts 10 boost on something. And then you can reset it with Casting Contest and Flotsam. You can duplicate it if you want. But yeah, I think this card's really strong. Even in the case where the opponent kills your Radovid, it's only 11 for 6. 11 for 6 is very good. I guess that's very good. And then obviously the order's repeatable, which gives you really good value. So I think this card's really strong. And the best thing about this is the Flotsam turn, where like you have Flotsam out, you play this, you summon back your Radovid, or not your Radovid, your Ronvid, then you click the order on this, and then you reset it and click it again. And then you're looking at 3, 4, because the Ronvid comes out, and then 2 10-point orders. That's 24. Like, that turn's really strong when you do it in this deck. And then the opponent has to deal with, they've got 2 of these, or they've got this, and they have to deal with it, but then it's boosted, and you're just like casting contests and resetting, and it's very good. I think this card's very strong. This is Temple Guard. This card's bad. It's a 3 for 4 that does 3 points of boost across 3 adjacent units. This is the Syndicate card. Yes, Northern Realms can spawn a bunch of guys. This technically could have synergies with Lyrian or Lyrian Scytheman. It's just not that the value is just not there. Yes, 3 adjacent cards isn't that much of a condition, so yes, the payoff shouldn't be that great. But come on, 3 for 3 with a 3 1-point boost on 3 different cards, 6 for 4, that's just not it. It's got to be like a 5 base power or something. Or at least the synergies with this have to be better, but yeah, it's just not good. Priestess, did I say Secret Service was the best Northern Realms card? I don't think I did I? I think I said it was Siege Master. Siege Master is better than this, but man, Traveling Priestess is insane. Each time you put it back in your deck, gets those 3 charges. Anyone who's playing against Military or Priestess decks knows how annoying it is to deal with this thing. They just wait till combo it with Onager off of their, what's his name, Vernon Roche. And then boom, they click 30 charges or something, and then you lose 30 points on your board, and everything dies. If they have this in a short round with their combo, you have probably lost. But it can be, like, the only way to beat this is generally to bleed it out. And that tells you how strong it is there. Like, this card's insane. Okay. How do we deal with this? Tridem Infantry? I'm putting Tridem Infantry in... I'm going to put it in weak. Yeah, Tridem Infantry is weak. The only time you'd ever use Tridem Infantry is because something in your Military deck got nerfed and you can't afford to run Onager. So I do think this is probably going to go there. And the last card on the tier list for today is going to be the Winch. And Winch is just, I think, our first special going in the excellent tier. Winch is very good. It has the 5-point boost, which is very useful for protecting stuff, comboed with the 3 cooldown. The 3 cooldown usually gets you enough, at least 2 points, like a Carabalista, so it's usually playing for at least a good value, and it can reset pretty important cooldowns like your Fard's Vengeance and stuff. So overall, I think Winch is a good card. Plus, you've got the fact it's a Warfare cooling down stuff overall, and I think it's just really good. Like, maybe this is a surprising one to put in this tier, but I think it deserves it. I think Winch probably warrants a spot up here. Maybe it's only a good card. I think I like it up here, though. Let's take a look at the other cards in this tier, see if it fits. No, I think I'm putting good. Yeah, no, it's a good card. We'll go with good. And that is the tier list for Northern Realms. Let's just look it over real quick, see if there's anything we want to change. I think all the stuff up here, like I could see this getting argued down. I still think I like it up there, though. Maybe these go in okay. I'm good for their value to their deck, though. Like, Mages isn't that bad. It's a fine deck. I think we're happy with this tier list, so let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one, which should be, oh boy, do we have any, which one's alphabetically next? Scoia'tael, right? I always get it mixed up because Syndicate, or Skellige abbreviation is first, but Scoia'tael is technically first alphabetically. So we'll come back with Scoia'tael next time. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you then.